Okay, there we go.
Hey.
All right, so of course, like I always do, um, Flo, since you are our guest for today, would you like to introduce yourself to the Foxtrots and the other
Oh,
viewers in our chat?
wait, do I still have like the stupid PNG?
That what's in your that's what's
Wait.
in the Fugitech.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, if you want to keep it like that, that's fine. I have no problems with it.
Now I'm gonna change it, but just for to introduce myself to everyone. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Florine Hanan. Diwatan Tans Pinay, di ba ng liwayway, VTubing's next problem. Florine Hanan mabuhay. That's me. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. It's
Hello.
a Saturday, so we're just chilling. Of course, this will probably be the depends on. Well, I think I already discussed this with my other guest. I think this will be the last episode for this year. So the next episode of
What?
Shrine Talk will most likely be next month on January or Feb. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Can't believe I've been doing this for 53 months total. Holy shit. Anyway, so yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. So quick rundown of today's topic, Foxtrots, just to explain it. So as you can see, episode 53 is about stressful or high stress situations in games as a streamer or a gamer. So the reason why I wanted to briefly talk about this, like recently, if you have noticed, not just me, not just Flo, but a lot of us in our circle have been, no, I wouldn't say stressed. I cannot speak for them. But what I will say is that you might have noticed that we have been dealing with a lot of high stress situations in games, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I do think it's
Mhm.
good to talk about it because as a viewer, right? As a viewer, you might you might think like, "Huh, what would I do if I were in their situation?" And you wouldn't be wrong, right? In a stressful situation in a game, whatever solution comes to your mind as to how you would deal with a high stress situation, it wouldn't be wrong. But as a streamer, it is slightly or very different, and that's what we are going to talk about today.
Yeah.
All right,
Which,
so
by the way,
mhm.
which, by the way, I don't. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be the perfect guest for this, but I'll try my best.
I mean, it's not about being the perfect guest; it's just being oh, internet problems. Classic, classic Southeast Asian problems as well. What were some game? Okay. First question, which we will ask, which we will be talking about. What for you are some games or some game fun, but can also okay. This is the first question. We'll wait for Flo to come back. Anyway. Hello, Mystic Blade Works. Hello, everyone in chat. Hope you are all having fun. Oh, there's Flo. You okay?
Hey. Sorry, that's my bad. I was trying to like change my Fuji deck and it actually logged me out.
All
There
good,
we
all good.
go.
All right. So yeah, you did say like you may not be the perfect guest for this. It's not about being the perfect guest. It's all about being an honest one, right? Yeah.
That's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
for those who are unaware and unfamiliar, my guests are, let's say, if we're talking about, for example, how to say um how to properly get to like high level Street Fighter, right? You'd think that my guest would be a Street Fighter expert, but actually, I try to get a perspective from someone who isn't too directly invested or involved
Yeah.
with the topic, because it's a good exchange of ideas. Basically, I don't want it to make it sound like an echo chamber, right?
Hmm.
So if we're talking about another topic, say casual versus hardcore gaming, right? As someone who is both like casual and I like casual and hardcore games, I would invite someone who is either casual or hardcore. Because that way we get to exchange ideas, not just like yeah, 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 like just agree or disagree every time, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
So the first question that we will be tackling for today's topic. So yeah. So what are some games that for you they are definitely fun but can also be stressful?
Um. I believe like FPS shooters definitely are like number one for me in terms of that, because
Mhm.
like it really can get like sweaty even if you're not like playing competitive per se.
True.
Um, like the because you know when for example like Valorant, you kind of like have to like get 13 wins before like the entire game ends. So it's kind of that that could take like a toll on you. That kind of like makes you feel pressured because like you're gonna be like stuck there for like what like 40 minutes to like 1 hour, and
Yeah.
that could like the pressure of like doing well and being like okay we got to like take it to a stride, you know, you have to like be uh 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 like be here for a while before like you get like for this thing is so that adds a pressure to it, and also honestly just like for me at least the question is for me. um I do enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh specifically.
Wow.
um yeah, I used to in like like my early years, like I'm like this is like my second year now, so like it's the
Mhm.
first years of me streaming. Yu-Gi-Oh was the one game that I like go um as my go-to.
Mhm.
And for some people like the stress of um keep like keeping up with all of like the cards handed to you, because like before it was just like oh summon monster, tribute monster to summon big monster, oops trap card, and now it's just like the meta for Yu-Gi-Oh has like changed so much since like since like comparing to like the early 19s to 2000s. Like now it's just like a string of combos and like loops and like um um and then like just like figuring out how to kind of like counter um that can be really stressful for some people, because like they could be looking at the card and then they're seeing like all these like walls of text and be like I ain't reading all of that. But for me it's kind of like fun because like one there's like this I grew up with like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so now kind of like participate in it. It's kind of like fun for me because now I get to like understand the media that I've been loving since I was a kid better.
Mm.
And two, it's just you know, it keeps you on your toes, you know, because like not only you have to like think for again, like you have to like think for your own combos, you have to like think how to like counter what they're putting on the table, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. So yeah, and
I completely get that. I mean, as someone who used to be head deep into trading card games, I know what that's like.
Yeah. Any like card games in general is just kind of like can be intimidating for other people because you have to like think of like all these like mechanics and it could it could get convoluted at some for some people, but
Mm.
it's really just like an acquired taste, I guess.
And to be fair, trading card games can be either like can range rather. They can range from being extremely chill to being like extremely
Yeah,
extremely sweaty or stressful.
yeah.
Because like you can have
So
like in MTG, you can have like a very simple deck that's basically what does this deck do? Okay, I play creature cards that summon tokens, and my other cards are built around buffing tokens, not creatures. So,
yeah,
like, I don't have like one or two big intimidating creatures, but I have a couple that are medium strength. So, if you don't have like a board wipe, good luck. And then you're like, okay, that's pretty simple. And then I check my opponent's deck, and I'm like, so what does yours do? Oh, I have a deck that basically and then it's just a spreadsheet. Like, so I play this card turn one, then I look for it in my deck, and then I shuffle it, and then I in turn two I play these two specific cards, and then I do this, do that, and I'm
yeah.
like, bro, what? How? How did I get to? I summon shit, make
Yeah.
it stronger, and then yours is a fucking spreadsheet. And I'm not even like mad or stressed the fuck out. I'm just like I'm amazed. Like, well, we're playing the same game somehow.
Yeah, it tends to be like the same in Yu-Gi-Oh like that as well. This spreadsheet, uh, whatchamacallit, the spreadsheet thing of it all just like intimidates some people when it's just like for people who like grew up with the game and like it's just like normal. But to others, it's just like I ain't dealing with that, you know?
Yeah, like not just in just to give an example also to compare to that. Like as someone who plays Fire Emblem, like people will especially with the recent success of Fire Emblem, people will get into it and they're like, "How do you manage every single party member?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, bro. I just wing it. I just wing it." It's like, how do you know which ones are like? You have so many strong characters. Which one do you pick? I'm like, bro, I'm a Emblem player. I just pick the hot ones. I put them in my party, bro. It's literally what I do every fucking title. Every fucking title. Like, chat, you can back me
Yep.
up on this. When I streamed Three Houses, engage for you guys. I streamed this for you guys. I remember. The moment I have enough waifus to fill up the entire roster for a map, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. What's ironic for the
That's
past
Inari way, right?
yeah, and ironically for the past emblem games, the strongest units tend to be female as well. That's perfect for me. But yeah, it's one of those outside looking in situations where like those who are not familiar with your game, right? For those who are not familiar with your
Yeah.
game, they just look at it and they're like, "How the fuck do you manage this? Aren't you stressed the fuck out?" And then for those who are familiar with it, like, it's just white noise at this point. Like I'm used to it.
Yeah. And to be fair, like even in card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! It does take a lot of like learning curve. We just have to kind of like play the game in order to kind of like understand it. I feel like that rings true with all like the sweaty games all across like categories like shooters or like card games or like whatever. You just have to kind of like be in it in order to kind of understand it better. You just have to like take like that first leap in order to kind of to work your way up, basically.
Yeah, and to add to that, right? You mentioned like shoot FPS like Valorant in particular, right? I mentioned this
Mhm.
before, but I think one of the reasons why team-based games can be very stressful is because especially compared to fighting games, and I just want to say this is subjective. Some people prefer the stress of like fighting games over shooting games and vice versa, right?
Mhm.
Um the whole pressure of being in a team-based shooter, even if your teammates are friends or randos, right? You have like
Mm-hmm.
on top of yourself, right? You have four other people that you don't want to disappoint, right? In fighting
Yeah.
games, there's just yourself. Like your opponent, you have that kind of in your head. Like if my opponent wins, they're gonna be happy. If I do, if I play like ass, like it for them, it's still a win. So they're not going to be disappointed. Just like lol, okay, free win. But in a
Yeah.
team-based game, there's like, fuck, my teammates think I'm
the
crap. Like, and you
the
don't,
responsibility of like doing well.
yeah, and the
If
thing is, you don't even know if that's what they are feeling or not, regardless if they are your friends or randos, right? Like,
yeah.
even if you're confident and you trust your friends that they won't really mind if I play like ass today, there's just like this nagging thing at the back of your head, like, oh, wow, you're being a burden to your friends. Like it's something that everyone eventually deals with in a game once in a while, and it's usually a source for stress.
Yeah, it's an unavoidable part of like being in like a team based comp. It's just like,
Mm.
you know, there's the pressure of like the pressure of like doing well and not disappointing or not being flamed if it's just like randoms.
Yeah.
Like that to me is kind of like that adds to that the
Mm.
feeling of like stress.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. For me though, for this question, what are some games that for you are fun but can also be stressful? I mean, there are games that are intrinsically they are stressful. I mean, Elephant in the Room, hello, Souls games. Souls games are kind of designed to be, if they aren't stressful for you, good, but they do induce some amounts of stress regardless if the game is difficult for you or not. Like it is designed that way. But I guess
Yeah.
some games that are fun but I can also be stressed doing playing, I guess maybe well, on the rare occasions, but I wouldn't even use stress as a word. Maybe mildly annoyed, right? Maybe mildly annoyed. I would say like, well, Uma Musume. Like there are some times where just consecutive, right? Just consecutive bad RNG. I'm like, you gotta fucking kidding me? Like I still don't blame my Uma. I don't even blame the game. I'm just like, oh, I know bad luck happens, but come on, throw me a bone here. But still, I still have insane amounts of fun playing Uma Musume. Like, I think we all can say I have a healthy amount of fun with Uma Musume for sure. On top of that, like, I guess when I do challenge runs for Resident Evil, recently for Stellar Blade, right? Like a no hit, no death, permadeath run.
Yeah.
Yeah, like thankfully I haven't crashed out. There's just that sigh of like, oh, you've gotta be fucking kidding me. Like,
Chat, can you confirm? Can
I'm
you confirm, chat?
Skull for sure can confirm because Skull was there. I remember he was one of the first people who reacted. This was a Biorand permadeath for RE4. I was literally at chapter. I hate to see. I even remember the fucking chapter. I was in chapter 15, War Room number 1, where you call the helicopter. I was not called the helicopter. You're being helped by Mike. And I was literally at the last part of War Room 1. I can literally see the door to a save point. And I just get bad RNG'd at the last switch to open that door. And I'm just like, oh my god. All those like that's like 2-3 hours worth of progress because it's a randomizer. So my optimizations are made on the fly and my speedrun strategies are not exactly applicable in every situation. So I'm just like, oh God, this is going to suck. And then I'm like, well, I gotta do it again. And thankfully, I was able to clear it. But yeah, that's definitely like the easiest. That's definitely the easiest example for me for games that I do have fun. I mean, yeah, Resident Evil, 1,500 hours, but they can be stressful, especially when I do challenge runs. So yeah.
Yeah. I actually do have one more game to kind of like add on to that.
Yeah.
There's this like mobile game called Pixel Dungeons, which apparently also has like a PC port.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a roguelike basically. So the premise of the story is kind of like you explore the dungeons and then you find your way deeper and then like kill monsters and like try not to get killed. And so every dungeon is kind of like randomized I mean, of course, that's kind of like a part of the roguelike experience. It kind of has to have like a randomized aspect in a way.
Mm.
But yeah, so the items you get are randomized. All of there's like I guess like 10 different potions. I think it's like a number of different potions, and they're like also randomized. So you have to like figure out which one is healing and which one is like the poison, etc. And then like the items that you have the weapons that you get are also randomized. Everything's randomized as hell. So it's fun because like the feeling of like progress is definitely rewarding. But also it's like when you finally get to like defeat two bosses and everything, and you just can't like figure out how to kind of like progress through like these uh a portion of a part of like a different stage is just kind of like it can be stressful, I guess, and I do think that people are not like keen um towards the struggle of having to like starting over again.
I mean,
I know for a fact that I don't.
yeah. I mean, I'm getting mad roguelite vibes from that. Like, so this is randomized. That is randomized. If you fail, you do it all over from the start. I'm like, so
Yeah.
or roguelite.
Yeah. But yeah, but it's so fun because like you know, not one gameplay is like uh the same from I mean, of course, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a fun aspect in that when which you kind of like have to like um progress and learn things as you go. It's just like I don't know, it kind of it hooks me. That hooks me for some reason. So yeah. Someone said flow plus stress equals funny. Oh, so, please.
I mean, isn't that kind of the case? Streamer plus stress usually equals funny.
Yeah.
That usually is the case.
Good lord, do not
If,
remind
of course, if the streamer can handle it. Because to be fair, chat, I'm pretty sure we have seen ugly crash outs. Very ugly
Oh
ones.
no!
I'm not throwing a jab at anyone. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have seen clips of those like on YouTube or on Twitter and shit of ugly ass crash outs. Like, oh boy, when it's ugly, it's very ugly.
Yeah, that's not the vibe.
Yeah. All right. So next question. So is your library mostly comfy / casual games, or is it mostly hardcore games, or is it a balance of both? Because I think this is important to like answer before we move on to the meat of the topic, right?
Yeah, not by an I mean it's how do I explain this? It's not because I meant it to happen, but because I guess that's just what the games I've been drawn to. I guess I'm more drawn to like No, wait. Okay, I'm trying to. I'm figuring things out with myself right now.
No. All good.
But I guess I'll play a game if I just like think it's fun. like it doesn't matter to me if it's like if it can get ten if it tends to be sweaty or no. If the gameplay is fun, I'll play it. Doesn't matter if I'm gonna be pulling my hair out afterwards. um but yeah, as for me, I just kind of like play whatever. I'm more hooked with like um story and like gameplay, the gameplay loop of it all, or just like just like the ambience, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, more than whether or not is it not gonna stress me out,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess with that being said, like all of the kind of like games that I've gotten in like my library are just like either comfy or just like a balance of both, rather than uh oh, whether or not this is gonna be like make me feel alive because like it's making me angry, rather than like. But you get me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I mean, yeah, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. It's really just like the vibe of, will I have fun with this game or not? And that's really it.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's like
Hmm.
comfy casual or hardcore, that's like after the fact. And to be fair,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, it's not always intrinsic to the game. Sometimes it is, at least first impression, but with emergent gameplay for some games, it can be otherwise, right? And for me, like, I know this is a community joke. Like, you go, it's mostly wham and games for you, aren't? Isn't it, Yoko? Like, yes, it mostly is. But in terms of like comfy casual or hardcore games, like, I don't know. Generally, I do like challenges in games. That's why when I play, in particular, right, single player games, if there is a difficulty setting, I usually pick the hardest. Like, I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
I just, as someone who has played tactical stealth espionage games, I like the thrill of being restricted and limited in terms of like what I should do, not what I can do. What I should do and working around that. Because that is
Yeah.
the embodiment of stealth games, right? Like, there are certain things that ideally you should not do because you are not in a position to like get caught and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And I kind of find that in a lot of games when they do allow it. And like I said, even I'm not speaking for Goth, of course, but even something as casual like Animal Crossing, I have seen people stress the fuck over it, like for
Oh my
turnip
god.
prices or certain villagers that they want in their island, right? Right? Certain villagers that they really want on their island or villagers that they don't want on their island, right? Like, yeah, I've seen people
Yeah.
stress the fuck out in something that's by design, in my honest opinion, um, should be comfy or casual, like Animal Crossing. And then you see how, like, I play Streets or how Vig plays Street Fighter. We're just like sniffing glue and just like having a ball with like Street Fighter. And like, how is that possible? It's a fucking fighting game. Fighting games are supposed to be like peak adrenaline and skill. Like, no, bro, it can be as stupid or as big brain as you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my mm-hmm,
yeah. No, like I just want to say,
mm-hmm,
because you talked about like a choosing when you're like given an option to kind of like choose a difficulty for games. I have to admit, like I really won't go for like the hardest, I guess,
that's fair.
like the first gameplay. But like, um, let's say for example, and like Street Hill, Silent Hill F. And they recommended like, oh, you pick the hard for the puzzles, and you pick the story for it's kind of like the recommended difficulty for like immersion. That's what I picked. Usually what um what the developers want me to what they recommend me, I'll pick that because like I just kind of like how kind of like see the game as they originally
Intended.
designed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, intended. Yeah. So yeah, if they recommended me hard, I'd be like, okay, I'm doing hard. But like, if they recommended me like the normal, I guess I'll. Or if they never really gave me a choice, I'm just going to go for normal. And then once I'm more like familiar with everything, I just kind of like go for the hardest to see if I go back and like just kind of like want to see the game again, but in a different aspect of like being like a little bit more harder than usual. So that's my usual decisions when it comes to like difficulties.
I mean, like whenever I review games, I always like. Well, it's been a while. Yeah, I'll say it, Foxtrot. It's been a while since my last video game review. But whenever I do review games, I always mention what difficulty I am playing on. And this is because, right, as Flo mentioned, right, what the developers intended. This is what I call out of the box experience. When I say out of the box, basically when you get game, and depending on if you're on console or on PC, right, the moment you boot up the game, you just press start and play. You don't give a crap about like the difficulty or the settings or whatever. That's literally out of the box experience, right? Um that is what I think most people will encounter, right? Just to give an example, for Assassin's Creed Shadows, by default, right? By default, you cannot do assassinations on big targets unless you unlock a perk. For people who prefer the more classic Assassin's Creed experience, they turn on that accessibility option where classic assassinations work, where as long as you're not caught, right, as long as whoever you are looking at, your target, is not alerted to your presence, you can just assassinate them. That's the classic Assassin's Creed experience. But of course, the out of the box experience, which is what most people will experience, is not that. That is why, like, whenever I see reviews, that's usually one of the things I hope that they disclose, right? Is this an out of a box experience, or did you tailor fit it for your own personal preference? Like, I mentioned in my Assassin's Creed review that I like stealth. That's why I primarily played as Naue, who is stealth centric. And that's why what parts I find tedious are different from what others may find tedious, or what I find unfair or BS is different from what you might find BS or unfair, or what others might find unfair or BS. So in Silent Hill, I played it as well. I was an idiot playing the hardest difficulty in both combat and puzzle. When I encountered the first fucking puzzle, I'm like, this game expects me to know the difference between a fucking chrysanthemum and a freaking like flower that first time I've heard of. I'm like, well, shit, they weren't kidding. They weren't kidding. Like, holy cow, I actually had to look. Like, what the fuck does a chrysanthemum look like? And then I look for the chrysanthemum logo on the 5 items that you have to put in the shrine, right? I'm like,
oh, that puzzle.
yeah, I'm like, holy shit. I was like, damn, they did not have to go that hard. But I'm like, well, they did warn me, but damn, I didn't think they'd go that hard with the puzzle. Because I'm just like, shit. Like, holy fuck, like, damn. And you you kind of had like a slip there. Street Hill Fighter. To be fair, she can throw she can throw hands. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she was in Street Fighter at some point. With that fucking pipe, fucking plus frames everywhere. But yeah,
you'll never know. You'll never know.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, some games, like I said, like both of us said, it's not always intrinsic, the whole casual, comfy part of it. First impression, maybe it is, but sometimes it's really subjective. Most of the time, in my opinion, it's very, very subjective. Very subjective.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in both our libraries, it's very, like, balanced in a way, I guess, because we really That's not really what
Yeah.
comes to mind. It's not like I buy something like, say, First Berserker Kazan or Elden Ring because it's fucking difficult. No, because I like Souls games. Or it's not like I'm
Yeah.
buying Peak or web fishing or whatever because they're comfy, because I'm just like, no, I just want to play something with friends, or like, this looks cute, this looks fun, I want to try it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That
And it's funny because like it's
Mhm.
funny because like there's at least like one game that I encountered that is kind of like a comfy game that I just
Mhm.
got bored with. And it's just like I want I want to do more, you know. I want more. I want more from this, I guess.
Mhm.
Not dissing in the game in general, but like, you know, like you said, sometimes there's just like sweaty games that are just like fun, and then there's just some at least from it differs from person to person, I guess. But like for me, like maybe just some sweaty games that are just like fun, and comfy games that are just like I play it and I'm left wanting more, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely something to consider, right? Like, when you get the game, like, your first impressions are what you're looking for. Sometimes you think a game will
Yeah,
provide that, and for some reason it doesn't. And
yeah,
if you cannot find a way to let it meet your needs, you're like, oh dang.
yeah,
Not like you think it's a bad game, but you're just like, man, I wish I could love this game.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so next question. So this for sure, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have thought about this. Do you think a genre could only be comfy slash sweaty?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, by design, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Souls-like and roguelike games are gonna be sweaty, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because of how they are. Like again, like roguelike, like everything's like randomized, and you when you die, you just kind of like start again. When it's Souls like, it's just like I haven't like actually played any like Souls like, but like, you know, the way I've seen it, the way you have to kind of like figure out defeating a boss with like health that's like bajillion times bigger than yours, and like how they they do everything they have like multiple ways of just like killing you is gonna be sweaty. But I don't know, I guess sometimes it doesn't, because I feel like there's like puzzle games that can be sweaty. I Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a puzzle game technically, no?
Oh yeah, I remember the one time I did collab with someone, and the thing is, it was a funny situation because she's a VTuber, a Japanese VTuber. So to make it fun and stupid, I asked her, like, wouldn't it be funny if when you're diffusing, I'm giving you instructions in Japanese, which I'm not fluent in, and when I'm diffusing, you give instructions to me in English, where you're not fluent in. And she's like, "That's a funny idea. I like it." And it went just as well as you could imagine. We both made
Of course.
mistakes. Play a
But
game enough that sweaty game becomes your comfy game. Oh yeah, that is one thing that can happen. True.
I mean, theoretically, mm, so I can if any game that has kind of like a time aspect to it, it doesn't necessarily have to be like have like a genre, but like more of like, oh, do this in in a this amount of time type of games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely add to the pressure of like um figuring stuff out.
Oh yeah, for
So,
sure. a lot of games definitely do that, or even some moments in games can do that. Like you can be playing a game and you're like just chilling, but there's like this one quest or whatever that's like, yeah, find these amount of items in X amount of time. You're like, oh fuck, it's one of those
Yeah.
quests. Like, god damn it. Personally though, I think there
So the next,
are
yeah.
Mhm. No, you first.
No. You go.
Okay.
No, I have nothing to say.
Alright,
You
alright.
go.
So there are some genres I personally think that not really no matter how or what you do, but it's going to be very difficult to be like comfy about it. Like for me, Metroidvanias by design are just very stressful and very sweaty. And I'm not even talking
Really
about
now?
like, yeah, I'm not even talking about like say Hollow Knight, like one of the most recent Metroidvanias to come out. But as someone who has played Castlevania, Metroid, like there are some parts in exploring that I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but it's it comprises like maybe 5% of what I do in the game, because by design, Metroidvanias have a very complex map layout, and it's one of the genres where it's very easy to get lost. It's the difference
Yeah.
between getting lost in a game like a Bethesda game, for example. Getting lost is part of the charm. If you're not using Bethesda cheats like, you know, I know you guys in chat, TMM space one, right? Toggle map mode, right? If you're not doing stuff like that and you're getting lost in like in Skyrim or um the Capital Wasteland, right? It's part of the charm. Like it's pretty cool. But in a Metroidvania where you know you're supposed to go somewhere, but you don't freaking know where, it can be very stressful, especially in older Metroidvania games where maps were not exactly like, how do I say it, readable. When I say readable, like you can see the map, but you're like, how the frick do I navigate this map? That's because
Mhm.
Metroidvanias by design, they don't, of course they don't want you to get lost, right? That would be a very evil game if they did. But by design, Metroidvanias basically test your navigational skills, and it can be very stressful. Like you will have this feeling of like, oh my god, have I soft locked myself in this game because I don't know where to go? Like I can see this door
Yeah.
that I have to go through because this is the only door on this section of the map that I haven't gone through. And you're like, okay, I think I need a certain key or ability to do so. Where the frick do I get it? And you're spending like 20, 30 minutes looking for a specific room or a puzzle or a task or an NPC
Mhm.
or a enemy to defeat to get you that thing that you need. And you're like, where is it? Where is it? And yeah, like it's really one of those genres that I think it really can only be sweaty slash comfy. For the comfy part,
Mhm.
I honestly think, like, I'm not even using Animal Crossing here as an example because the thing is there are some elements that people don't have to interact with, right? Like not everyone is going to split hairs about turnip trading, right? There are people who do, but there are some people who don't. Um but something like say web fishing where the goal really is to have fun fishing, bro. Um, it really is one
Yeah.
of those games that I think it really is going to be comfy most of the time. Like the sweatiest thing I did there for fun as a joke was a speed run. What the hell did you speed run in web fishing, Yoko? The map has this tiny little rock on a lake, and I wanted to do a trick jump to a mushroom that will propel me to that rock. I wanted to speed run, like, how fast can I do a 360 jump on this mushroom into this rock? Um, my record was like 17, 18 seconds. Like, I don't know what, like, it's not an official record, all right? I just did it for fun. And other than that, like, the vibe of the game is just so contagiously comfy. The moment you think of like, man, I wanna collect all the large fish, and I know it's gonna take me a while. The moment you get into that process of doing that thing that is normally a grind, and grind is usually synonymous to stress, right? Because of the whole
Yeah.
vibe of the game, it's just chill. It's really just one of those
Yeah.
so there are rare moments where games like that, like, yeah, we are a chill game, and no matter how hard you try, will still be chill. And there are some games, no matter how hard you try, it's gonna be sweaty as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's
Yeah.
a bad thing. That is just something that as a streamer and as a gamer, you're going to have to adapt and reconcile yourself with. Um, I think this was definitely something that did cause a lot of hubbub when Silk Song came out. For those of you who are out of the loop, right? Silk Song was one of the major complaints about Silk Song was how difficult it was. Now, thankfully, I didn't play Hollow Knight, the first one, so I had no benchmark, right? I had no benchmark. When I first played Silk Song, the first few minutes, I'm like, wow, this is a very challenging game. And the thing is, my benchmark was like
Yeah.
Metroidvania. That's it. I've played Deedlit, I've played Metroid, I played Castlevania, I played Bloodstained, right? Like really challenging in particular Metroidvanias, which I think Metroidvanias are very challenging to begin with. And I'm like, this is not too different from just about every Metroidvania I've played. I feel like I have one needle and the entire game is a haystack armed with like high caliber rifles and nukes that will kill me in one hit or if I fuck up one time, right? And it was very interesting just seeing the discourse about like why did they have to make it challenging, blah blah. I'm like, isn't that kind of like a Metroidvania thing? They are kind of supposed to be challenging.
I see now. I see now what you mean with that.
Yeah, and
Cause like,
Mhm.
yeah,
No, you go.
no. Cause like cause like now I just like thought with like the Metroidvanias that I kind of like played, Castlevania for one. I guess the expanse of it all is kind of like intimidating, but now that you're like like saying your point, I see now how it can be sweaty.
Yeah. And again, like whenever I saw people complain about that, I never thought they were wrong. I was just like, let me guess. They played Hollow Knight and the jump from Hollow Knight to Silk Song is fucking huge. And if that is the case,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not even their fault. Like, it's really a difference of developer vision and player expectation. And I think that's something in the long run, all of us will definitely have to deal with just about every game that we consume, right? Just to bring forward, like Silent Hill, for example, right? I remember when I played it, and like Flo asked me several times about Silent Hill F, like how is it? And Goth also asked me about it, and I was like, I didn't even compare it to any Silent Hill in the franchise because what I've learned recently, which I think y'all should consider trying to do, right? I'm not saying, oh, tips to enjoy games in 2026. No, not like that. It's just something that I have been rewarded for doing, so I don't know. Consider doing this. Whenever I get a game, regardless if it's part of a franchise or if it's part of a genre that's really popular, I try to not compare it to anything else in that franchise or genre. So, for example, right, for Silk Song, the only thing that I had a lens to measure it was like, it's a Metroidvania for sure. How does it stand up as one? That's literally it.
Yeah.
For Silent Hill, I'm like, I'm not comparing this to Silent Hill 2 or 3 or 4 or Homecoming or 1, whatever. I'm just like, a psychological horror or a Silent Hill game, how does this stand as one? That's really all I compared Silent Hill F with. There were times where I felt so uncomfortable. And I'm like, if I feel uncomfortable playing this game, it has done its job as a Silent Hill game. Because that feeling of just dread and being very uncomfortable in the situation that your character is, that is for me the benchmark of a Silent Hill game.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I have done recently with just about every game that I've done. Like I know the temptation is there, right? I know the temptation is there, but nowadays that's really what I do. And I don't know, y'all should try doing so. And again, I want to say it's very difficult, especially if it is a genre that's very crowded, right? We all know I know the internet has called it soul slop, right? Because of how many Souls games we've had this year alone and for the past several years, right? We're just getting Souls games and Souls likes and whatever. Not that like that's a bad thing. I think that's indicative of how the demand is still there and the market is still hungry for more, right? That's totally fair if that is the case. Met by metrics and statistics at least. But at the same time, right, I am not going to compare, say, Elden Ring to Dark Souls or First Berserker Kazan to Sekiro. Like, I may say, like, oh, the parry system is very similar to Sekiro, but I'm not going to say, like, one is better than the other. I will say, like, I prefer this one over the other, right? But I'm not going to say that one is better than the other because, like, First Berserker Kazan is not Elden Ring, it's not Sekiro, it's not Where Winds Meet, it's not this, it's not that. It's their own thing. I mean, yeah, like, I swear to God, Miko. Applying the same mindset to watching the Fast and Furious movies and just having no idea what's going on. I mean, well, that's franchise identity. And not to say that it's not completely different, but I do understand, like, one point, Fast and the Furious was about street racing, and then couple of titles later, we're in space?
Tanks!
Not even tanks. We're in space? Okay. Damn. People will call anything a Souls like if there's a stamina system and a resting mechanic. Then don't forget, Skyly. Don't forget. If you can lock on a target and you can go around said target, immediately Souls like as if Legend of Zelda didn't do it first. Like, bro, come on. It's one of those things where I'm not gonna correct people for it unless they ask me, because like, I mean, you know, not especially when in an era where games are hotcakes, right? We are in a time where back in high school, back in grade school, if someone saw me playing a game, I'm getting beaten up, I'm getting bullied, they're gonna hurl insults at me. Now it's actually cool to be a quote-unquote nerd. It's actually cool to watch anime. It's actually cool to play a game about anime horse girls. It's cool to play video games. It's actually cool. If anything, it's lame to make fun of people who do so nowadays. So yeah, whenever people like say, oh, is this a Souls-like? I'm not gonna be, oh my god, you're so fucking uneducated. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Jesus Christ. Like, at the risk of sounding like actually, right? Like, I don't want people to be wrong, but primarily I want people to have fun, right? I don't want to ruin people's fun. So that's why when I see people playing, say, a stealth game like it's an action game, as long as they're having fun, I may not like it, but hey, they're having fun. And for me, it's like, hey, they're playing a game, a genre that's not so popular, but they're having fun with it. That's a win for me. So it's just really, really funny how a genre can have its own identity, and no matter how our personal preferences play into it or play around it, it's either going to change or it's like just gonna be stuck. Well, not stuck. It's going to be very adamant about its identity, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
Penultimate question. Well, no, not penultimate question. That was the previous one was. Final question before we move on to the little break in between. So
All right.
this is where we are starting to lead into the meat of the topic. So So hang on. As a streamer, right? Oh, streamer. As a streamer, does struggling in a game worry you? Or do you make a moment out? Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's the question for before part 2. Right? So as a streamer, when we are struggling in a game, regardless if it's because of stress or a difficult segment of a game, like do you worry about it or it's just like, I'll play around this kind of thing?
Mm. This question is so funny to me because like at some point I played Jump King and I didn't even get to like the like the
The next zone?
I didn't even get like I didn't even get to like the 3/4 of like the zone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so seeing that grassy stage in the beginning is kind of like a PTSD moment for me. So um but when it comes to like struggles, it actually I'm actually kind of like a um I don't know, I guess I'm an outlier to this because like I feel like in every aspect I have to do I have to do well,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I know that people like again like people are entertained when it's gonna when they play people are entertained when streamers play games such as like Jump King or like what's that game again? The one where
Getting
the
over
guy
it.
is in like a cauldron.
Yeah,
Getting
getting
over
over
it.
it with
Yeah.
Benaswati.
And like people enjoy the kind of like oh wow he has fallen into the deepest parts of the whatever
Hmm.
again so for the nth time and then like people kind of like find that funny but a little bit different in a sense that like I guess I'm a perfectionist in a way that kind of like makes me not enjoy that aspect of like not doing well in any game.
Mm-hmm.
So like that stresses me out, you know. Um, but in a lot of sense, I guess let's say in horror games, I guess the struggle is like me coping with all of like the scares and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and that in itself is kind of like content as well. It depends, you know. When it games that's just like horror, you know, the struggle is like again the struggle is like running away or like going further even when you're just like jump scared for like the fifth time. So that is a struggle that I'm willing to kind of like um take because there's still some kind of like a progression with it, you know. But it's when the struggle when the struggle is tied with the progression of the game, like that to me is I can't take that at all.
Oh, that's
Uh,
I feel that. I definitely feel that.
yes.
And after I answer this, like Miko has a good question which I will tackle, but um the struggling in the game worry or do you make a moment out of it? To be fair, um because I like a challenge, I see struggles like that as a challenge. So it kind of is ingrained in me. Like if I'm struggling in a portion of a game, I can make a moment out of it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, right, it's not easy. It's just that I'm used to it. And to be fair, I've mentioned this as a joke, but the more I play games, the more I kind of see the truth in it. Like the joke being that yeah, I was born with a perk called Fast Learner perk. And because I have been accused several times by all of you that oh Yoko's good at anything he plays, I'm like I wouldn't go that far. I just learn fast, okay? And the thing is, like, I have played a lot of games for the first time. I remember during the peak hype of like Marvel Rivals, people were asking me, Yoko, they got Wham in here, dude. I'm like, I know they have Wham in, but another hero shooter? God damn it, fine, I'll try it. Because like Veek was playing, Blue was playing, god damn it, everyone, Miko was playing. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Fine. My first game I play as Psylocke. I got MVP. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real. How did I get MVP on my first game? This no. So yeah, like I just learn. I just learn fast. That's really what I can say. And I guess with because I do like to yap while I talk, especially when it's you guys know this. I usually go on tangents a lot, especially
Mm-hmm.
in some games where there's like a moment. And for example, right, you guys know that I really like talking about guns in particular, right? So like if I see a gun in a
Yeah.
game, I'm like, oh my god, they are using this gun, blah 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 blah. And then I just go on for like minutes over the fucking gun itself. And I'm like, well, I lost the forest for the trees. Well shit. And I just tend to hyperfixate and just yap. So whatever like I struggle, for those who were there for my no hit challenge for Stellar Blade for boss rush, like we were stuck at several bosses and I was just like, it wasn't really like, not to say that it did not worry me. It did worry me a little, not because I'm stuck here, but I'm like, how long am I gonna be stuck here? I don't mind being stuck here because I kind of expected I'd be stuck with some bosses that have very tricky like move sets and mechanics. I'm just like, how long am I gonna be stuck here? I hope I'm not gonna be stuck here longer than I want to be, right? Because I'm still having fun. But as a streamer, I know for a fact that if, especially if you don't know your audience, right? You don't know if your audience actually likes it when you're struggling, or if they are interested in, oh, he looks like he's finding a solution to this very difficult boss encounter, right? You don't know if they actually like that, or oh lol, he's being dogpiled on. Time to lurk for a bit, I guess. You don't know that really. Unless you know that, it's not going to worry you as much. But um if you know your audience for sure, it will definitely help you worry a lot less. And if you I guess if you know how to handle the situation, right? If you know how to handle the situation and play your cards right and do with do the most with what you've been presented, I guess, with the opportunity, then it can still be a fun good time. That's why that worry can last for like a moment, or it can drag you down a bit. That is the challenge. And to connect to that, right? Miko had a very good question, right? For streamers, does the comfort of a game make it easier to interact with chat, or is it more difficult to manage because there's a concern that there's not enough interesting things are happening on screen for chat to engage with? That is a very good
Ooh.
question. There are some games where I know for a fact this is a struggle for a lot of streamers, right? For something like Valorant, for example, when we lock the fuck in, we tend to be very quiet. And
Mm-hmm.
there is that worry like, shit, I haven't said anything because I'm locking the fuck in. Like, I'm not engaging with my chat. Shit, I need to say something. But there's also that worry that if I say something, I'd start to loosen up. So I'm not as locked the fuck in. And if I keep fucking up these rounds, let's say I'm not worried about how my teammates feel, but chat will be like, lol, your ass now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it is a thing that you have to wrestle with. And I think the comfiness or comfort of a game is not the comfiness or sweatiness of a game is not what makes it easier or harder to interact with chat. I think it's the fact that you are trying to balance interacting with chat as a streamer and then giving chat something that's fun to watch or engaging to watch. And this is where curating or easing your audience is the challenge, right? Just to give an example, then I'll man, I've been rambling. Then I'll let you share your thoughts, Flo. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, for example,
take your time.
yeah. So when I do my challenge runs for Resident Evil, Stellar Blade, Elden Ring, right? Whenever I do these stupidly ridiculous challenges, um, I know for a fact that I do want to have this balance of like yapping and also playing the game in a way that's entertaining. And I've found this golden like zone. Ooh, zone. Uma Musume reference. I found this zone where by engaging in chat in a specific manner, it kind of reduces the stress I have doing a stressful challenge. And by focusing but not too hard, right? Because too much of something is never a good thing, even locking in. By focusing a decent amount of like my mental awareness to what I'm doing in the game, I can provide something entertaining. And I know it's
Yeah.
may sound easy, but it is ridiculously difficult. Like I have done that so many times that I'm used to it. But I know for a fact that it's not easy. And honestly, the major factor here, Miko, is number one, what kind of audience do you have as a streamer? And number two, how malleable is your audience, right? If your audience is so used to you and they actually watch you for popping off, right? For being gamer hours, like really skilled combos and clutches in
Yeah.
Street Fighter, for example. Or is your audience more of, wow, this streamer plays like us, like a freaking like Onga gorilla on a fighting game, right? Like it's stupid but it works kind of fighting game player. If they are strictly one, that is something you have to play around, right? You don't have to lock yourself to that specific kind of fighting game player, but you can play around it. But if your audience is very malleable, like they're watching you for you, and regardless if you are like a comfy streamer, if you are a very intense hardcore streamer, right? If they find you entertaining regardless, it's not that big of a problem. And by extension, it wouldn't matter if what you were playing is comfy or sweaty, right?
Yeah.
That really is what I believe is the case. All right, Flo,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Miko's question?
First thing that came to mind is like I've always kind of described myself as kind of like a one-track mind person, like in the sense that if I'm doing or like a thing, say like playing a game, then that's just what my mind kind of like fixates on, I guess. So it's kind of like hard when you're like a streamer and an indie streamer at that to
Mm.
kind of like balance that, to kind of like have that interaction with chat and like doing something. And I guess the comfort the quote unquote comfort of a game kind of like does help, because like if you are in a, say for example, like an FPS or like in a fighting game where you have to kind of like focus on a lot of things on you and what you do and what your opponent would do, is it's kind of like hard to kind of like focus on that and be like, oh hey viewer, what's up, and then like talk about it. I can't do that. Like our friend Blue kind of does that in a very uh he does that very flawlessly, to kind of like have like extended conversations with people coming in on chat, but at the same time
Mm.
still be on still be on like on Street Fighter doing combos and whatnot. I cannot I cannot do that. Or even like in like my in again like in Valorant where you have to like it's a clutch moment and be like even like con others conversations distract me
Hmm.
because like my mind gets drawn into that. So so yeah it being if I'm playing a game that's like decidedly being like comfort or like it's not like not something that demands your attention
Mm-hmm.
that much. I guess I could like have like to talk and still do whatever um the hell I'm doing, even if sometimes I kind of like lose my balance and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does help for me at least. Um, so yeah, uh, but I guess in a way, I don't want to dig on anyone. Uh, but yeah, sometimes I just can't. Maybe it's also in like the fact that I'm also kind of like pressuring myself to be the ever entertaining streamer because like I see I see big streamers.
Mm-hmm.
They play they play whatever and they're focused on that and people watch them, you know, like they're there they're like oh wow nice and then they're like they're gonna be like silent on be silent on end. I'm not digging them, but that's just a just adding to the fact that you said it really depends on whether you're not your audience is kind of like okay with you doing what you do, you
Yeah.
know, which is in a way it's kind of hard for like small scale VTubers like me who you know um only have a small number of like viewers at any given time. Like I always joke that only have like 3 regulars, and in a way, it is kind of like true. And unfortunate enough that those 3 actually just like is okay with like me doing whatever the hell.
Hmm.
So yeah, it really depends on whether yeah, on your audience is also kind of like malleable to the um to the fact that they're okay with you doing whatever and they're watching you for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If there's one metaphor I would use, like for those in chat, I'm pretty sure all of us have had one subject in school that we just hated no matter what, right? Um
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, with the right teacher, you'll still hate it, but it's less of a class that you'll just want it to be over kind of thing, right? I'll take the most common example. I know a lot of people are not fans of math in particular. I like math. I just like numbers, okay? I like numbers. But I know for a fact that math is probably one of the harder subjects to actually make fun, right? But like I've had
Yeah.
a lot of and for me like I like history as well. History is, for me, is very interesting. But I know for a fact that history is definitely one of the weaker subjects where I studied. Like history has consistently been where a lot of people fail or have low grades at. And the thing is, we had this
Yeah.
one teacher who just really showed us that history can be fun. Because straight up, first day of class, what he does, he writes on the board a Greek line, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. And he says, what this means is that here in this class, I am the law. And we're like, oh fuck, you want gonna be one of those teachers.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, our expectations were blown out of the water because like he was still very honest with the source material of like certain moments in history, but he was able to flip it, twist it in a more interesting way. we literally, before any major test, we literally had what he called history dodgeball, where we did have a dodgeball match in our class, and whoever gets hit has to answer a history question. So it was literally fun. And in our quizzes, and even in our midterm and final exams, he emphasized this. I don't care if you answer the question in 1 sentence or 20 sentences. As long as you answer the question correctly, that's good enough for me. And it's not like I did it as a test, but I'm like, okay. Like this first question in this test, and I like his format. It's 5 questions, 4 points each. So I'm like, okay, so as long as I explain, if I give a very articulate, coherent answer, it should be enough for 4 points. And the first question was a was a question about a certain part of like World War II, and I was like, shit, this thing is the question itself can be answered in like 2 sentences at best. Like trying to not stretch the words that I know I am pedantic, right? But I don't want to intentionally make it look pedantic. But I'm like, the best I can do to make it coherent and compact at the same time is 2 sentences. Like if I try to make it 1 sentence, it may not make sense. If it goes longer than 2 sentences, it may look like I'm rambling. So I'm like 2 sentences at best. So I answered it in 2 sentences, and then a week later, when we got our test paper back, I got a perfect. And I'm like, what the fuck? I answered this in 2 sentences and it was enough? And honestly, I have never encountered a teacher in my high school that actually did that, because most of the time our teachers really were like, answer in 5 to 6
5 sentence
sentences. I'm
minimum.
like, yeah, that kind of thing. And I'm like, if I go past like a certain amount, it just sounds like flavor text. Like it just sounds pointless, but okay.
Yeah.
And our teacher was just like, no, he answered my question correctly. That's good enough. Doesn't matter if it's 2 sentences or 20 sentences. And yeah, like a lot of people still did not like history, but we liked being in a history class. That's basically the talent or the ability that a streamer likes to develop, right? We aim and we try to make the most mundane or not interesting moment in a game actually be interesting, or like the viewing experience, right? Because I know for a fact there are some games that are boring as fuck to play, but is very interesting to watch. And vice versa, there are some games that are really fun to play, but are boring as hell to watch. So as a streamer, you try to find what category does this game belong to and how can I adjust it, right?
Yeah.
And that is where I try to remember that metaphor that I taught myself. Like, it's not about the subject itself being boring or not boring. It's the class itself, people being in that class, finding the class boring or not, right? I can swap history for any other subject, and I know for a fact that everyone in class is not going to be pleased by the subject alone, right? So to translate it, let's make it a genre, right? So let's say like Flo's chat, like what are majority like games that you play in the same genre? Like what genre?
Wait, I'm
Right?
actually really a variety one. But shooters, I guess, card games. What else?
Like
Horror.
what's your most streamed game off the top of your head?
At the
Ralo?
time was Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take Yu-Gi-Oh for example, right? Let's take Yu-Gi-Oh for example. So because a lot of people tune into Flo's stream for Yu-Gi-Oh and for Flo, it must then pun intended, it must flow in Flo's mind that yeah, most people are going to watch me for Yu-Gi-Oh and for me. So whatever can be happening on this stream right now. I say stream, not Yu-Gi-Oh, but stream, because in a stream there are two elements. There's the game and what's being streamed, and then there's the streamer, right? So must there must be this state that Flow is playing around where, yeah, they're here for me and for what I'm streaming. So I can just kind of autopilot while engaging chat in a way, right? And this is where the whole class metaphor comes into place. There are some people in that chat that are not there for either or both. There are some people in chat that like Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're like, I don't know who this Flow person is. Like, let's see what their vibes are. And there are some people who are like, okay, so I like the vibe and the design of this VTuber, but I never played a card game in my life. But okay, let's see how they go. So there is that thing where regardless, right? Regardless of that, it really does come down to how the streamer can make the most out of that situation. Where if you are a professor in a math class, you are aware that there are some people in that class that like math. There are some people that don't. And there are also some people that are getting a very not so positive vibe from you, maybe because you unintentionally give an intimidating kind of vibe. And there's some people who like, okay, they look professional, so this is going to be good, right? This is where it's not about what I am teaching or what I am streaming or what kind of streamer they perceive me to be, but it's more of, this is the class, this is the stream that we are in now. How do I just make that entertaining for the people that are here right now? I don't want to say everyone, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't please everyone. That's very unrealistic. But how do you just make it
That's true.
a good viewing experience for people who are in the now? And that really is what streamers should just try their best to do. It's not perfect, but again, you could be playing a fighting game, a shooter, card game, comfy friend slop game, whatever. It ultimately doesn't matter, because regardless if it's your regulars or people from other streamers in the same circle that play the same genre of game that are checking you out because, oh yeah, I know Flo through because she played this this fighting game with fighting game streamer, right? I want to see what she's like in her streams. So something like that, and they'll be like, oh wow, I didn't know she played this game. Not exactly my type of game, but well, let's see the vibes, right? It's that moment where I'm not here to make math look interesting. I'm not here to make a card game look interesting. I'm just here to make it fun to be here, right? That's really what a streamer should settle for, right? We cannot, because again, there are elements in chat that are out of our control. And it's not exactly realistic for us to try and correct that or change that. No. It's just like the least I can do is make it fun for you to be here. That's really what, especially as an indie streamer, right? Especially as an indie streamer, that's the most plausible and realistic approach that I can think of. You can just take Yep, I know I'm being pedantic again. I am. You can just take any game, any genre, regardless if it's your thing or chat's thing or not. It's really all about how to make the moment that everyone is in, you included as a streamer, entertaining.
Yeah. And to add on that, again, like it's really important that you yourself kind of like enjoy what you're doing. Because for me personally, I cannot do like long form story games because I do kind of like feel the pressure to kind of like show everything everyone and more so if it's like a open world type of game, because now you also have to kind of now add it to the fact that I'm like a perfectionist or whatever, that I have to kind of like explore everything and have like no stone unturned type of thing can be pressuring for me. to kind of like show that to I feel like you have like the responsibility to kind of like show that, or maybe that's just me, the kind of like the fear of like missing something out that's kind of like important or integral to the store, like make things easier for you in the long run. So it's all like a lot. So like for me, I enjoy short games more,
Mm.
because you kind of like be done with it in one setting and be like um in next game, you know, like it doesn't tie you in, doesn't like have pressure, oh you have to like schedule this for this that when you're like not feeling it, but you have to like also kind of like, hey, where's um you have to like think, oh, um of like the viewers who kind of like, oh, where's this game, you know. So it's all pressure to in anyway. So to kind of like add on to that, I guess like yeah, it really just factors in like you are enjoying the game, because people really do enjoy seeing you enjoy as well. Like I know that for a fact that um stress is kind of like a haha funny moment, but so does you kind of like being fulfilled by what you're doing. I think viewers enjoy that as well.
100%. I mean, to bring the class metaphor again. If you see your professor walk in class and they have this happy disposition about it, you kind of feel like, oh, thank God they're in a good mood today. Yay. But if you see
Yeah.
that they have a sour expression, or you're like, oh fuck, this isn't gonna be good. It's the same for a streamer. It's the same for a streamer, really. It really is the same for a streamer. If you can tell that your streamer is not having a good day, and it's not even the streamer's fault, but you yourself subconsciously, you kind of share yourself in that experience, like, oh man, I feel kind of bad for them. Oh shit, I hope they're fine, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But if you can tell that your streamer is doing fine and they are happy, like, you feel happy. Right? That's kind of a shared experience kind of thing that streaming has. It's not completely in our control.
Yeah.
All right, good question though, Miko. That was a very good question. All right, so we will be
Yeah.
moving to a 5-10 minute break. So for those in chat who have questions for us that are related to the topic but we haven't tackled yet, please do not hesitate to ask me and or Flo.
Uh-huh. So since we're like having this kind of like a bit of downtime before we get into like the meat of things, I just want to say it's so funny that that's how they becon you to play a game.
How they
Like,
what?
oh yeah, but there's a woman here.
I mean,
It's so funny to me.
it is a community joke, but I swear to God, like, I don't know. Like, that's just how I'm wired. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna lean to it.
And it's kind of like again, it's so funny to me, people have made associations on you as to what games you play, and also like goth, like when it's a goth game, it's kind of like a chill game, you know, like a comfy
You can farm. You can have a space to yourself and invite NPCs. Yeah, goth game.
yeah. And when it comes to another games like Pretty Women,
Whammon, that's
you
it.
know.
Simple. Whammon, that's it.
And I do kind of like have like a criteria for like a flow game. It's so really specific, but also really kind of like expansive. If it's just like, if it's artful in a way, you know, or like if it's like retro inspired type, I think that is a flow game to me. But it's like if the game entirely has kind of like like whatchamacallit this, like I think that they want to achieve that doesn't necessarily have to be expressed through like triple A graphics. You know, like I play that shit. like anything inspired by PS1 graphics. I dig that.
I totally get that. I mean, recently I did play a demo of a survival horror game, and it just screams PS1 because of, honestly, I think it's a lost art form.
Yeah.
Pre-rendered backgrounds. I love that shit. There's just something charming about pre-rendered backgrounds.
But anything that's kind of like has like a really, really great art direction. Like again, it doesn't necessarily have to be like realistic. Oh, you look at this, the water reflects the character, you know, but like it just has to have I'm looking for that term, that word.
The
Not
graphical
drive
fidelity.
per se. No. Like if they have like a decided like purpose, for the lack of better term. I forgot. Oh my god.
Sorry, what is your train of thought?
No, like I'm trying to like figure out that term, you know, if the game has like if the art has a like a like a purpose, like a drive, like I forgot the word.
Artistic direction.
No, but I guess you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to we're but yeah, anything artful, and or retro, that's my game.
This is definitely a word that a lot of people take for granted, and that's art style versus graphical fidelity. Just because a game has high graphical fidelity doesn't make it look good. Just because a game doesn't have high graphical fidelity doesn't mean it looks bad. I can literally put side by side. Yes, this is going to be a very controversial take. I can put side by side Signalis and Expedition 33, and I can confidently say Signalis looks better. I'm not taking that back. I know what I said. Remember, I said better. I didn't say Expedition 33 looks like crap. Signalis looks better. Because it's not about graphical fidelity. For me, that makes a game look good. It's the art direction, right? You can take something that is cel-shaded, anime style, whatever. As long as the art direction makes it look pleasing to the eyes, that's my definition of it looks good. But if you just mess up the art direction of a game, it's going to look bad regardless. Let's take two realistic looking games, for example, right? Let's take Cyberpunk, right? Let's take Cyberpunk 2077 and shit, I need a good example of a game. Yes. Like something like fine. Call of Duty Black Ops 7, right? I'll use that as an example, okay? Both lean towards the whole realistic graphical style, right? Like you can tell that the body proportions, the physical features, the facial features of the characters here are grounded. Like, yeah, I can see someone IRL looking like this, right? The difference between the two, however, is how they deliver on that style. The thing is, both look realistic, but for me, in terms of art direction, Cyberpunk 2077 looks better. Why? Because it doesn't use the realism as its appeal. It uses it as a base. But the coat of paint on top of it makes it pop out, right? And this is where we're kind of delving into the territory of, well, pun intended, art. But interesting looking art is very subjective. It's very, very, very subjective. But, like, it's not about the object itself, but it's the whole things surrounding the object. It can be something that doesn't make any sense. Like, here's a painting of a bowl of fruit. What's interesting about a bowl of fruit? That's not the point. You just look at the painting of the bowl of fruit with how it's framed and everything. Finger snap. If it sparks something, that's good art direction. That's just good art direction. Not to say that Black Ops 7 has bad art direction, but if I were to compare something in the same graphical fidelity field of it, like, it looks kind of flat/boring. And that's kind of part of the consequence of, like, the identity of both realistic graphics and franchise as well. Because for just a quick rundown, for those who are unaware of why Call of Duty recently has been getting a lot of flack from its fans, the identity of Call of Duty being like a war game, not exactly a milsim, but a military shooter, has been lost because of its art direction, not gonna lie. Because of its cosmetics, right? It's not that the cosmetics look bad, it's the art direction behind these cosmetics. Like, you're not going to look at that and think COD, you're gonna think Fortnite. And that's the problem. That's exactly the problem. And
Fighting someone and you see Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, like, it's not that the cosmetic looks bad. No, it's just that this is Call of Duty. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Because you can take Nicki Minaj in COD and Nicki Minaj in Fortnite, and you will, most of the time, I'm confident 9 times out of 9, people are gonna say Nicki Minaj in Fortnite looks way better than Nicki Minaj in COD. Even though Fortnite has, like, less polygons and shit, right? The art style of Fortnite is not realistic. But there's so many collab skins that look so good there, right? If they're one of the things I remembered people were losing their heads over, the whole K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, when they were in Fortnite, people were shocked at how good they looked. And that's because they translated the art style of that really well. And that's entirely the point. That's basically art direction in a nutshell. The reason why you cannot put someone like Beavis and Butthead in COD, but you can put them in Fortnite, is because the art direction in Fortnite allows for that to happen. It can. If I were to swap of my early examples, the styles of Signalis and Expedition 33, it's going to be catastrophic. Like, do I want Expedition 33 to have, like, Signalis graphics? Thing is, regardless if I like it or not, I don't think it's going to fit. Because the vision of whoever made it and the art direction is not the same. Like, I've seen Signalis fan videos and mods in other games, and I'm like, yeah, Signalis is not designed for this. Not to say that the mod is bad, but it just clashes completely. It just really does. And that's really part of, like, what my point was, like, people taking for granted the difference between graphical fidelity and art direction and art style. Because you can take the same franchise. Like, for example, you have people who absolutely hate Wind Waker. Yes, that is a thing. I know it sounds crazy to say that, but there are Legend of Zelda fans that absolutely hate Wind Waker. And they love Twilight Princess. And the thing is, I love both. But I prefer the art style of Wind Waker. I just like the very stylized version of Legend of Zelda because it actually ages pretty well, in my honest opinion. That's why I love Breath of the Wild, because the art style is very nice. And it's not about, oh, look at the polygons on Link, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, that doesn't matter to me. Like I said, in my first example, I compare Signalis, Expedition 33, where one is literally, 16-bit, 8-bit graphics. The other one is more modern. I'm gonna say that Signalis looks better or has better art direction than Expedition 33. On the outside, it's not gonna make any sense, but once I frame it in a way where I'm helping you understand my point of view, hopefully it starts to make sense. In my opinion, art direction should be a priority over graphical fidelity. Graphical fidelity should come second. In terms of visuals, at least. Because I don't know, like, it's going to be very weird playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, and then the graphics are like hyper realistic. I don't know. I mean, we know the Wheeler memes, right? I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see that shit in realistic graphics. The Wheeler face, I don't want to see.
I think that's just magic.
And
I think
that's
just
exactly
magic.
my point. I don't want to see I don't want to see Yu-Gi-Oh with Magic the Gathering levels of art direction because I still think it fits. That's not the identity that I have reconciled that franchise with, to be honest.
Yeah.
And again, like at
Can
the
you imagine
end
like a realistic Blue Eyes Dragon?
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Imagine a realistic Blue Dragon.
Yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it looks like a fucking dragon from like Skyrim or
Something
Elden Ring. I'm
from
like, no.
Yeah, yeah.
No thanks. It just doesn't hit
Dragon
the
from
same.
GOT.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
please no. No, I'd rather not. Alright, let's get to part 2, which is the meat of the whole topic for today. So for the first question, right? For the first question, and this is a very important question. So me turn. Right. What for you is a prime example of stress in games that has nothing to do with the game? Because again, as we said earlier, sometimes stress in a game is not tied to its genre. Sometimes it just emerges from our experience with the game.
Mm-hmm. I guess you're just like if I'm understanding this question correctly, I guess what I could say as an example is like being the receiving end of like blaming or like just kind of like toxicity from like our like teammates or your opponents. It's just like something that really exacerbates that stress.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think it's not like a great it's not a great experience to be told like, oh, you're ass or some shit. And I guess it's either kind of like it's kind of like a fight or flight situation where it's just like it's either you kind of like want to like prove them wrong or like kind of like, oh well, yeah, kind of like in a way accept that hit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and it's not a great feeling to say the least, because you just kind of like want to kind of like, it's already kind of like one thing to kind of like be focused on getting into the game and playing the game. Also, you have to kind of like have like mental load of be like, hey, this person in the game thinks yada yada yada,
I mean, that's definitely the most it's the most common example and relatable example of stress in a game that has nothing to do with the game itself. Let me explain that briefly. When I say has nothing to do with the game, we could be playing the game with like in a different atmosphere, in a different bubble, and it would not be stressful with just the game in mind. So, for example, let's take Valorant, right? Easy example. If I'm playing Valorant and I'm in this, like, I mute text chat and I mute voice chat, so I'm really interacting with just the game, right? Opponent kills me, I kill them next round. My skills land in the right spot. My skills aren't landing in the right spot. These are stress that is tied to the game, right? Because
Yeah.
it's what I'm actively doing. But the moment somebody starts being toxic in text chat and voice chat, that has nothing to do with the game experience as a player. But as someone
Yeah.
who is in the moment of that game, that's where the stress comes from. Because I could play with different people,
Mm-hmm.
I won't be as stressed. Like, for example, if game 1 is 13-12, game 2 is 13-12, and I tell you the second game was less stressful than the other one, like, how? It's 13-12. The score is the same. Did you not, like, sweat to break the tie? I'm like, yes. But the circumstances were different, and it had nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
Because my teammates in game 2 were a lot more amicable and they were less toxic. Like, I can show you, look, see, the agents we picked in game 2, exact same as we did the previous one. Opponents, the exact same thing, exact same map even. So it's not a map thing. It's not an agent issue. No, none of that. It's the teammates. It has nothing to do with the game itself. No. And this can happen in like I'll get into this later. I'm not going to get into much detail right now. But this isn't unique to multiplayer games, but it is very common in multiplayer games in particular. That's for sure.
Yes.
Because again, you could be popping off, like you could be opping as Jet and you're just clicking on agents exactly as you practiced. You can have that exact experience and moment for 3 games in a row. But one of those is going to be stressful as fuck because there's one teammate of yours that's just trash talking the enemy, or the enemy is just like the opponents are just being toxic as hell as well. Like, it has nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
with you doing well or doing badly as a Jet. No. Doesn't matter. So that is definitely a prime example of stress in games that has nothing to do with the game. Because there are some games that are stressful to begin with. Like I said, intrinsically, they will be stressful. Um, if they aren't, that means that you're used to it, or it just really isn't something that stresses you in the first place. But there are some games where the stress that you get has nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
And in this case, multiplayer game, I could have stress, the same amount of stress I have playing Valorant as I do playing something like, say, Peak, or something like Lethal Company, or basically any multiplayer game that is not in the same genre, not a shooter, right? Not a fighting game, right? As long as I'm playing with other people, there is a chance that I'm going to be stressed doing so, and it's not because of the game itself or the genre.
Yeah.
Right. So, next question, right? So, just to simplify the question, what are methods you do to deal with stressful situations?
I guess the simplest way to kind of like deal with like stressful situations in games is to just not deal with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could just like step back, take a breather, and be like jump in on it when you get or kind of feel ready again. Because um uh an uphill battle when you're already kind of like stressed and stuff, because like your judgment is a little bit clouded and fogged. You know, you can't think straight, and just like it just kind of affects your gameplay in general. The people underestimate just how much your mental can affect your games. So like as much as possible, if you can, like just like take a rest, like take a breather, go grab some water, um uh etc. And it could also be uh you could also do it preventative, like if the game that you're playing is decidedly kind of like stressful or like sweaty, or like you have to like grind for things, you know, just make yourself comfortable in a way that that really won't that nothing else won't like affect uh your gameplay even further. Like if you're uncomfortable in real life, of course you're not gonna be like comfortable playing a game at all. So like you kind of like have to like really make yourself comfortable, have like a beverage, already have like your water, etc. Make sure just like um making sure that you're just like not like minding anything else other than like the game that you're playing. So yeah, 'cause, like you really can't fight it now if you're like just in that stressful situation. You know, just kind of like have to give yourself time and like process, kind of like cool down, because in at the end of the day, it's just kind of like a silly game, I guess. So when you already kind of like feel like clouded, it's just like to like stop everything and just like let it pass.
That's the so that's basically how you deal with stressful situations in games, right?
Yeah, just kind of like step back, you know, like oh, this feels silly. I'm gonna have to like take a rest or something, you know.
Well, my method for dealing with stressful situations is not so different. Like sometimes you really do have to take a step back, regardless
Yeah.
if it's a multiplayer game and you're having toxic teammates, or if it's a single player game and there's this puzzle that you're stuck in. You're like, there's no way I'm this stupid that I can't figure this out. Sometimes, because you are so focused and so intent, just to use the puzzle example, in solving this puzzle, this barrier, sometimes the answer is so obvious that it flies over your head because you're just tunnel visioned on solving it. But in the funniest ways, if you step back, like take a break, and then when you come back with a clear head, you're like, wait a minute. There's this part of this puzzle that I didn't read in particular, and then you're like, oh my god. It makes sense now. And then by taking that like brief 10-20 minute break, you were able to solve it quicker than you were stuck like 1 hour racking over like how the frick does this puzzle work. And for multiplayer games, when you're dealing with toxic people, unfortunately, the method is a little bit more direct. This is why you might see a lot of streamers, like me in particular. I don't like having voice chat on. As Flo mentioned, it's a preventive measure. Like, it's always better to prevention is always better than the cure. It's a medical thing, and it's true in many cases, right? Like, for example, buyer's remorse. This is something that gamers have to deal with nowadays. This is why a lot of gamers like to buy games on sale. Not because it's more affordable, but they don't know if a game is worth it at full price, especially there's no demo at hand. This is why
Hmm.
it's nice that recently a couple of games have been doing demos for their even especially single player ones. They've been having demos for their games before their release, so people can make up their own minds if this game is exactly like their cup of tea. Because um as someone who
Yeah.
likes Souls games, like Flo can suggest like, hey yo, Yoko, look, Wamen, Souls games, you might like this. And then I try the demo, I'm like, nope, not my cup of tea. But it's Wamen and Souls games, you're right. But the game does it in a way that not my cup of tea. It's one of those things that despite whatever first impressions or like patterns that you have, sometimes it just doesn't coalesce. It just doesn't fall into place. It's not even your fault. It's just how it's basically just a mixture of things not blending together.
Hmm.
Because again, like you can take the entire theme of like the story of Cyberpunk, same exact characters. If you put it in a fantasy setting, Blue is not going to like it because fantasy is just not his thing. Not because he thinks fantasy is bad, but it's not his cup of tea. Even though like
Mhm.
Baldur's Gate 3 is really good, right? No one will shut up about Baldur's Gate 3 even now. There are a lot of people that I know that don't play it because medieval fantasy is just not their cup of tea. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. And just to quickly answer this question, Draz has a question. During the past half century, do you think games in general became more or less creative? I don't think it's either. It's that it's harder to make a game that is unique. It's the consequence really
Yeah.
of games becoming more mainstream. Like the whole idea of like Souls as a genre, a lot of games have improved upon it. That is the curse of being the pioneer behind something. You are in this position where you are respected, you are worshipped practically, but those that come after you are just in prime position to be better than you, right? For example, right, let's take Souls games, right? So Souls started with Demon Souls and Dark Souls, right? And every title afterwards has improved upon that. And outside of that, other titles have changed or drifted away from the original formula that is more appealing for those who are outside of that circle. You take something like say Wolong or First Berserker Kazan or Wu Chang or Where Windsmith or even Black Myth Wukong, right? They are Souls likes, but they have taken elements away or they have introduced elements that were not there in the first place. That's why people prefer this over the original Dark Souls, Demon Souls, or even in the same landscape. Elden Ring. Elden Ring is arguably one of the weirdest Souls games you'll play because the amount of adaptability and player expression there is different. And the fact that it's very exploration centric, that's not the same as Souls games before that. And people have adapted that in their Souls games nowadays. So, and that's just one. So, and there are some genres where how do you make platforming stand out? That's very difficult because you have platformers like Mario, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, right? Jack and Daxter. How do you make jumping around like unique or stand out? It's very different when that formula has been constantly like changed and become more defined that people understand what it's like, right? And you take stealth games as well, right? Splinter Cell is not exactly the same as Metal Gear Solid, but both games have this theme of if you get caught, you're fucked. So
Mhm.
when a game does that, like when a game in like 2020s onward takes that, people are gonna compare it. Like, yeah, it's not so different from Metal Gear Solid, and but that's the thing. Like, how do you make something as defining and simple as if you get caught, you're fucked? That's a tactical stealth espionage game at its soul, right? If you get caught, you're fucked. How do you play around that? It's very different. Same goes for shooters. Shoot, gun, thing, die. How do you how do you innovate with that, right? It's very different. That's why in some games they introduce features to complement or go alongside it, right? How do you tell the difference between the big 3 of battle royales originally, right? How do you compare the big 3 of Apex Legends, Fortnite, and PUBG, right? PUBG is very like you are not a military expert and you are stuck in this hellhole of a battle royale competition, right? That's the simplest way to describe it. You're not zipping around like you're a military expert, trained, combat soldier, right? You're an ordinary civilian. That's the simplest of it. In Apex Legends, you are literally a freaking hero trained for high movement, high octane combat situations. So you're literally teleporting, wall climbing, jumping all over the place, and you're summoning like missile barrages and stuff, right? That's Apex Legends. And you look at Fortnite, where if you get shot, suddenly if you shoot someone at a distance, suddenly there's a fucking Taj Mahal right in front of you, and you're like, huh? So see that's how like um that's how you can take something that's very difficult to innovate and make it stand out. But since Apex Legends has done that, since Fortnite has done that, PUBG and Warzone, I guess, for Call of Duty has done that, how will future battle royales do that? When something like Overwatch has kind of redefined a hero shooter, everything is doomed to be compared to Overwatch. Unfortunately. So yeah, it's not that games have become less or more creative. It's very difficult now to make a game that is inspired or not, uninspired. It's very difficult. All right. So the next question, this
Yeah.
one is yeah.
No, it's kind of like it's hard for you. It's a uphill battle as well for you, for one to kind of like make a game that is like not inspired by something, because ideas don't really come from a vacuum. It really comes from like something else, and it's just like decidedly um it's to go back with the question um that Kyrie has. Like I I I don't think that games uh became either or.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's more of like the gaming sphere being just like saturated with things. It's not necessarily they become less or um more or less creative. It's just like there's just decidedly became more.
Yeah, there's just a lot of it.
And it's hard to kind of like, yeah, it's just hard to kind of like sift through things that necessarily that like offer you a different experience that from what you've had, and it's really just like out there. It's just like you have to kind of like really come looking for it, and or also your kind of like expectations for it, or like you have to kind of like be the responsibility falls into you to kind of like find these creative games, and it's not gonna be something that you expect. Like, say for example, like it doesn't have like high fidelity graphics or whatsoever. It's out there, creativity is still very much present. It's just that this gaming thing has just become really really widespread.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally fair. And to give one last example, not in a smaller scale, take Dante's signature move, Stinger, right? Where he extends his sword and dashes forward, far distance, right? So that's kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
movement that people look for in any action game, right? How do you take
Yeah.
something as definitive as that? I stretch sword forwards and lunge forward really far. How do you innovate that? Like, that's why you see the exact same move. It's not like developers are lazy, but it's very difficult to find a way to make an animation that's different from that. It really is. I've
Yeah.
seen the FF16 version of that move, and I'm like, it's kind of different, but I can tell that it's inspired by Stinger. So I'm like, how will you do that in a different game? Like, it's not easy,
Yeah.
especially when it is so effective. Hell, even the whole thing of like Snake, right, leaning his back towards flat surfaces to avoid detection. It's perfect. It's simple. How do you change that in other games? It's difficult when it's practically perfect. Just about every game that does stealth, every character does that. But most of the time, people won't complain because it's perfect. Like, it works. It's the perfect animation for this, right? Don't fix what isn't broken. So it's not exactly lazy, but it's just so good that, it's the perfect animation for it. Same goes for any character in a game that has like a katana and a sheath. They're like, oh, Virgil. Yep, they're doing the Virgil thing. I'm like, yeah, even if it's a bit, like, well, to be fair, how can you animate a EI jutsu move that will not make it look like Virgil doing Judgment Cut? There are ways, but they'll still look very similar. I'm just saying. It's gonna look very similar. All right. So next question, which is definitely the main meat of it. How do you deal with the same stressful situation in games when you are streaming? Because believe me, chat, it's different when you're just gaming, and it's different when you are streaming.
Yes. Very much. Like when you're just gaming, I say like there's like um the feeling of you having to kind of like perform, for the lack of a better term, to an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be hard when like things go in disarray when you're showing things to someone, you know. So fortunately I haven't had that kind of like um oh wait. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um okay, so in a sense I'm gonna share like a small story
Yeah, go ahead.
in regards to like this question. So I met this person uh in something, and then like we kind of like uh uh so I think we were like in a tournament or something. We got paired up because we were the only ones that was kind of like the solo players of this. And then afterwards, we kind of like got reconnected because back then I was still kind of like a pre-debut um VTuber, like as in no model at all. And now I came back and I had a PNG and was like, you know what, we should collab because I honor collections like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like you happen to meet like super happenstance, and it's just like I value like uh meetings like that. So we collab with this game, Uh, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
The game was decidedly hard, but it's whatever. Then we were just kind of like bantering. Um, at some point, I said something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm a this type of girly." I don't know if we're talking about again. Um, I was like, I just said something along the lines, "Oh, I'm this kind of girly." That's what I said,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, um, "Yeah, you're a different type of girl, you know," and ruined
Oh.
ruined my whole mood. Um, and I guess for one, if you know me that at that point, you'd know there's kind of like a change of shift in mood, and
Mm.
I think he also kind of like um
Noticed it.
uh noticed it as well after when we kind of like talked it out and hashed it.
Mm-hmm.
Um uh but yeah, in a sense, I still kind of like kept on like streaming. I kept on with this collab because not just because like I mean ultimately that's kind of like the proper way to do it. Like I don't want to be like I'm gonna be storming off of this because
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of like want to like keep the keep the whole show running.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
guess it's helpful to kind of like think of like it's kind of like helpful to think of like streaming as some kind of like performance where you have an audience and you have something to do with gaming and like whatever, and you have to like keep that running even if decidedly you feel as if like your your mood is down and whatever. Um, you have to like, keep the normalcy of things and uh and if it gets to a point that it's like too much, and then you kind of like step back.
Mm.
When it's still just kind of like a bit of um uh so have to like have a show to run, then I guess you just kind of like have to like take it in stride
Mm.
and just push through. And again, you could decidedly just kind of like have to like step back. It's no pressure really. Even if you kind of like plan, or even if you're a usual streamer that kind of like does 2 hour streams, or like you just kind of like stream for like 4 or more, and if you don't feel like it, then it's just like, hey guys, I'm not feeling it. I'm just kind of like just kind of like go and like do something. You can be transparent with them or no, but like ultimately, um, you could just really step back because like it's no pressure, you know. It's uh, it's not as strict as say like we're not in a stage, we're not in a Broadway. You're just kind of like, oh, if you like don't feel like it, then you just like stop
Mm.
mid halfway and just like walk out.
Mm.
With streaming, it's a little bit lax, and for sure, if you kind of like decide to do that and be like, hey, I'm not feeling comfortable because of this, and ultimately people would understand. Um, but yes, sometimes just like keeping on doing it is, for me personally, I guess, is can be the best option just to kind of like just respect, like if it's like a collab like that, and you just kind of like have to like um respect their time and space, even if they kind of like decidedly disrespect you in a
Mm.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's either like, yeah, it's kind of um just like taking it in stride, or just just like stepping out of it if it just really decidedly becomes like really really bad.
Hmm. That is, man. First off, that's rough. Sorry, I had to go through that.
Yeah. That's fine. I don't talk to him now because like I guess I could like not see them differently because like I really don't care. I really don't. Okay, maybe I do care for a bit, but like if it's like not my people, then I guess I really just can like have that space to kind of like um yeah, no, I'll not interact with you. But like if it comes like as a shock, if it came out of nowhere and it came from like a person that you don't expect, say it'd be like a friend, acquaintance, or someone, it just kind of like takes you aback. So yeah, it really is just kind of like pushing and powering through because ultimately, again, it is kind of like a show where it has to kind of like keep on rolling.
Yeah. That's definitely one of like the priorities of a streamer is to really get the show going. And I guess in this situation, right, I think the word that describes that moment is a flight or fight response. Because
Yeah.
there are things that I have experienced something similar also. Where
Oh,
I have this choice where I can let this slide or I can't
yeah.
let this slide. Unfortunately, I have had that a couple of times, collab or not. And it's really number one, up to you to decide if it's worth affecting the stream to let something slide or to not let something slide. And
Yeah.
of course, keeping the show going is like priority and very important. But sometimes if you have
Yeah.
this feeling at the back of your head that even your chat is like, you gonna let that slide? Right? Not because they want to see, I hate using this word, they want to see drama happen on your stream, right? But they are probably concerned, like I wouldn't blame my favorite streamer if they didn't let this slide, but right? It's one of those situations really where when something bad happens on stream, just for example, right? Just to give us an example. Um let's say that you're playing through a certain part of single player game. And not saying this happened to me, okay? But just to give an example. Let's say I'm playing through a part of a game that I have played through a bajillion times. I'm just trying to do like this part in a certain way. And a regular in my chat is like, you don't know you can do this, right? Backseating basically. And I'm like if there is one type of viewer that really grinds my gears, it's definitely backseaters. That's why in particular whenever I see mutuals or even friends like struggle with a part, I don't just chime in. Like I ask, do you want some help or advice with this? I always ask because I myself find it very annoying. So I know what it's like if someone else who finds it annoying sees that in their chat. Not a good feeling.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, in that moment, right? Because it's a regular, that for me is more of a reason why I can't let that slide. Because if it's a rando, there are so many reasons why I can't let it slide. Like, if it's, sorry, not rando. If it's a first time chatter, right? Or not a regular, they don't know me, right? Maybe they are used to streamers who like to be taught, right? Like to be handheld or, you know, a little backseating from chat. Like they don't mind it. If anything, some of them encourage it, right? There are streamers like that, and that's okay. But I'm not one of them. How is this person going to know that I'm not one of them if they are so used to streamers that prefer it, right? It's not the streamer's fault. It's not the viewer's fault, right? So, especially even though I clearly put it in my chat rules, that pops out every time you're a first time chatter, please no backseating, right? Even though it's there,
Yeah.
I still give them a one time, like, I know it's 2025 and reading is not exactly something people do. Yeah, but I'll let it slide. I don't like it, but I'll let it slide. But if it's a regular, there's this voice at the back of my head that says, if I let this slide, that's going to kind of give a signal for other regulars that it's okay. When it's not.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I want to avoid. Now that's for something like that's bad for the like happening on the stream and not the game itself. What if it's something happening in the game itself, right? Let's use our favorite VTuber shooter, right? Valorant as an example. Let's say there's a rando like just being the most toxic piece of shit teammate you can ever have, right? There could be a list, right? There could be a list. What? Okay, fine, Yoko. What are they? What are they? Are they trash talking? Are they being sexist? Are they being racist? Any, right? They're just toxic. They have one or a combination of the toxic traits of the worst possible teammate you can ever have, and that's what's happening in chat, right? Now, you as a streamer, there is this responsibility. Yes, I say responsibility. You have this responsibility for, I wouldn't say grandstanding on your virtues or whatever, but you have to stand by your own principles and kind of set an image or a tone that your chat will consistently see you as, right? So when there are people like that in my game, right? The thing is, I would not confront them directly because one, they are randoms. Number two, I know for a fact that whatever I do, they're just going to do it again. However, what I won't stand is not doing something about it, right? And the very least, what I do is I still like report them to the game and whatnot for toxic behavior. That's the very least I will do. And as a streamer, and I think you might see where I'm going with this flow, the one thing you don't want to happen is when a rando exhibits rando behavior, and then you see someone you know do the exact same thing. That's when it becomes very difficult. I'm not saying this happened to me, right? I'm not saying this happened to me.
No.
But this is,
I get you.
Yeah, this is the case where you're gonna feel like an ass if you call your friend out while you are streaming. It's the equivalent of tweeting someone for something that they did for everyone to see. Your intentions are good, but even I would be like, was the tweet itself really necessary?
Yeah.
Especially when it's between two specific parties. Like, you guys could have resolved this in your DMs, right? And that's one of the things that I am prepared to do. If there are moments like that between me and like a mutual or a regular, I don't like the idea of putting them in the spotlight, even though a part of me knows that it's the right thing to do. Like, I'm not an enabler. At least I try not to be, right? Regardless if you're a friend of mine or not, if you're doing something wrong, I'm going to, number one, call you out for it. ... In a manner that I try to like decide like, yeah, this is the best civil way to go about it. Right? I'm not gonna mention any names, but chat, you know that we did have like a moment or two like that like years back with a mutual on stream, and I really couldn't let it slide, and I had to call them out while we were streaming. Now, of course, like it doesn't happen every time, but that's really one of those moments where it's really up to you to gauge how bad is it that it's not going to be quote unquote the most professional way to tackle it. But you know for a fact that as humiliating and unprofessional as it may look, it's probably the best way to drill it to your friend or your mutual's mind that what they did is wrong.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, if you are a proper friend, you're not going to enable your friend to do something that in your heart of hearts, you're like, this is not good what they're doing.
Yeah.
In any space. It doesn't matter if it's in your space, your inner circle, outside your circle, it doesn't matter, right? If you are a proper friend to them and if they are legitimately a good friend to you, right? It's not something you will let slide. And this is definitely one of those difficult situations that streamers have to deal with when we are met with a stressful situation like this. Like there are a million things that can stress out a streamer, but this is one of the harder ones where someone that we know or someone that we are interacting with on the regular is involved. Like it's very, very difficult. It's very stressful. There's no perfect way to do it. There's just what I like to call the way that we'll regret the least. Right? Where every decision that we think it's not the best decision. There's no win-win in this situation. But like this is the one I'll regret the least.
Yeah.
But on the more, well, that's very specific and very rare. But for the more common side, right? Dealing with toxic teammates in a multiplayer game, right? Honestly, as a streamer, some people like to brush it off. Some people like to call them out live, right? Which is not wrong. But honestly, it's really you as a streamer to decide what decision will at least there's a high chance that your conscience is not going to eat you up for it. Really. Like that's really the best advice and the best answer I can give for this question. Because there are some people that like a more direct approach. There are some people who prefer being a little bit more subtle and indirect about it. It's not that one is righter than the other or, you know, one is better than the other. But in my honest opinion, it really is up to preference. And again, like, it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's a situation that definitely no streamer wishes to be in. But we're gonna experience it as a streamer at least once. For sure. Alright. Next question. So... Okay. Okay, this one will be an interesting one. So... multiplayer games are a common source of stressful situations. Do you have any particular experience with this? Oh boy.
I don't. I'm healthy.
Lucky.
I actually don't. You know. No. I mean, many to mention, but like again, there's this one instance in way back before I decided to come to like streaming. Which also tied to my own personal discoveries. But I'll get onto that later. Yeah, there's this one game where I was like Valorant. It's Valorant. I was playing a game, and just he was this one teammate was kind of like toxic to another teammate, and when he was like asking me to buy them like a stinger, I didn't buy them because like why the fuck am I buying for you, toxic ass? And then he he focused on me, and it was just flaming the entire the entire the entire match, and I had to kind of like endure him, like talk shit of like, oh, why are you saving for something? Blah, 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 blah. You're bad. You're good. And it was constant. The entirety of the game, and it was just a lot, and I think that's why.
Hmm.
I think that's why. I think that's why I decided to kind of like speak in like a girl in the girl voice back then in Valorant,
Mm-hmm.
and people because people were like a lot more friendly, and that was my trans discovery.
Well, that's I would say nowadays it's kind of rare because if people find out that when people find out that this one person in their team is a girl, you have to flip a coin. They are either going to be very normal about it or very not normal about it.
And they have never been normal, and I mean, at least it's not. Um, um,
Translation:
when Valorant,
they'll either be very nice or very sexist. There, I substituted the words.
yeah, at the very least in Valorant, it's just as they become weird and simpy.
Yeah.
But when it's just like, but when it's like Counter Strike, like, oh, you're a woman, fuck you, and then they like leave the lobby, like
Yeah.
flame you in the entirety. Like it's like that's a different piece of its own. Damn.
Eh.
But yeah. Um. And yeah, like that one game that we had when they were just like decidedly kind of like with the friendos, and it's kind of like decidedly kind of like trash talk the 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 entire time, and I think I've never been more affected than any kind of like game whatsoever. It was so weird. It was so weird because it was like a combination of him doing bad, and he was like the bot frag of his team, I guess, and like I think the entire match, and then he was just like talking smack,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, oh, why the fuck are you talking? And then that in a way that kind of like snowballed into like a lot more stress. And why is this motherfucker keep on talking? And then that turned on to kind of like us performing bad, whether it's caused by that or it's just like like the first game, so like that entire day, and that clouded my judgment so bad, and like again, like I should have like kind of like stepped back, but I kind of like I guess it's just kind of like let it like uh consume me, I guess.
Mm.
And oh yeah, that's like the two notable experiences that I had. And funny enough, they were both Valorant. So rough. And yeah, it's just like it's a lot, like to kind of like be in the receiving end of any kind of like trash talk whatsoever.
Mm.
Even if people kind of like decidedly say that, but oh, trash talking is just like a part of like gaming culture, and if that's the case, then the community will become a cesspool. But like that's how it is now, and
Yeah. Harsh
it's
reality,
rough.
unfortunately. It's very rough. Yeah. That's why, like, multiplayer games back then, people were not afraid to, like, just have open mics ready to go. But
Yeah,
nowadays, like, I can't blame people for, like, when they see the first thing they do in a multiplayer game, turn off voice chat immediately.
yeah,
But you can't
and I'm kind
communicate
of
with your teammates. Yeah, that also means that I
yeah,
can't hear whatever the fuck they're saying. That's
yeah.
entirely the point.
not gonna be like I'm not gonna claim like I'm a saint or whatever, you know. Like I'm a stern believer of the fact that no, dish what you can take. I have been decidedly been toxic too because people are toxic to me,
Mm.
you know. Cause like it's like it's kind of like I admit them, man, that it is kind of like bad because like Ivor and I fight fire with fire thing is definitely not the healthiest way to go with it in terms of like mental. It's like that just kind of like builds up this
Mm.
toxicity within you, you know. I'm not gonna deny that that's still kind of like who I am, right? Within like this when people decidedly become so like toxic to me in games.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the consequence of it all. It's just like you kind of like it builds up on you, you know. The toxicity that you kind of like tolerate ultimately becomes part of you,
Yeah.
I guess. Nowadays, it's just kind of like it's fun now because um we found like our group, and it's like, you know, like only we're just here to kind of like uh that's like our downtime, you know. It's kind of like, you know, I'm not gonna deal with any kind of like chat today. You kind of just like turn off enemy chat and whatever. And it helps it helps to do with friends because like now you have like full stack. And when it comes to playing with randoms, it's really just like a toss up. It's either you get one that doesn't speak at all, or like one that's just like toxic, or like someone who's just like really chill and kind. And usually it's you really don't get a lot of kind of like randoms who are like fun to be around. So it helps that kind of like full stack and play with friends. But yeah, uh, Loki's still kind of like rough.
Yeah, that really is the state of multiplayer games nowadays. Like, yeah, people are not afraid to exhibit the worst human behavior possible in a space
Yeah,
like
because
that
they're
because realistically, there's very little consequence to do when you do so. Especially when it is a
mm-hmm.
free to play game, like yeah, like okay, your account gets banned, then just make another one. Like it's
Yeah.
not exactly um it's not exactly ideal, and it looks very dystopian, but that is the state nowadays of games that are free to play. There is usually a higher chance of you encountering someone who is toxic because any account ban from any account ban for someone who not cheat or whatever, but because they were toxic, they'll just make another account. It's practically just a slap on the wrist. Well, for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, um, I can't say that I have faced this too many times because I can't. Whenever I play multiplayer games nowadays, I usually have voice chat, text chat by default just off. So it's
Yeah.
it's one of those like it's one of those it's one of those situations where, well, I can't say I died to this boss multiple times because I skipped this boss. Like in a game, like, oh my god, this boss keeps kicking my ass. Well, this boss hasn't kicked my ass. Wow, you must be so good. No, because I skipped this boss.
Again, stepping back.
Again, like, I can't. It's not. I can't say it's a problem if I haven't encountered it as a problem, right? And
Yeah.
that's where, like, it's very important, right? Just because something is not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening. It's a very humanistic l-
Real.
it's a very human litmus test, right? If something bad is happening, it doesn't mean you should give less of a crap, right? Yeah, but I don't want to worry about. No, it's not about worrying about something. No. It's like, again, let's say let's say you're in a gated community, right? And your neighbor is like, there's a house a block away from yours. It's not gonna hurt you or kill you to help out in any possible. I'm not jumping the fire, but no, I didn't say jump in the flaming house. No. Call for emergency or just approach and like check the situation, because like, you know, there's a fire a block away. You're not in the immediate danger, right? And hopefully you're not. But would it kill you to just like assess the situation, see if you can help? Like, show that you give a shit? That's entirely the point. And you know, like, it's one of those things that I try to exercise like to the best of my abilities. Or at least if my mood allows it, whenever I see this kind of behavior in multiplayer games, right? Like, even if I'm not the one who's being trash talked, I hate it whenever I see a teammate trash talking someone else, because I'm just like, we really need this? Really? Like, come on. There has to be a nicer way to say things. And I say this every time. This is why I curate my words. Even if sometimes I fail to do so, I try to retract my statement to choose better wording for it. Like, the message could be, yo, I hope you could like land your shots better. Right? That's the message, right? That's generally the message. And the thing is, you can say two things that deliver the same message. And the most common one is, well, your dog shit, uninstall.
Yeah.
Bro. Or you could say, yo, are you lagging? Are you alright?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same message of like, I can see that your shots are not landing. Hopefully you can start hitting them. If the other team starts it, it's all hands on deck for trash talking. That, unfortunately, is the most common thing I've seen nowadays. And the thing, Andoru, is that the most common argument I have seen online, oh, these people wouldn't survive Modern Warfare 360 voice chat. And I'm like, no one should go through that in the first place.
Yeah, this is not the normal thing.
It shouldn't be. Because, again, like, I know that broken bones heal strong, but no one should be breaking bones in the first place. And, again, like, at the risk of going on a tangent here, but, again, I have to say, this is one of the pitfalls of a lot of communities nowadays, particularly the fighting game community. Old school COD voice chat. Yeah, I know old school COD voice chat. Yeah, I'd consider that a war crime. And, again, the whole nature, right, of like fighting game culture nowadays, that will slide before, but that's not something we should be doing now, because it's very widespread and people are starting to get into fighting games when they haven't touched the fighting game in the first place. Like, if you guys saw recently, just to give an example, right? For those who watched the Street Fighter tournament recently, right? When Punk beat Xiao Hai, even after Punk shook Xiao Hai's hand, he was waving in his face, right? It's a very, unfortunately, it's a very Punk thing to do, right? He likes to BM a bit. And then, thing is, I didn't see the tweet where Justin Wong posted that, but Justin Wong apologized for it. And for those who are like, wow, that's nice, for someone who's been in that space for a while, that is not something you expect a fighting game veteran to do. Most fighting game veterans are very unapologetic about BM. They'll own that shit. They will really own all that BM and smack talk. They'll own it. They're not afraid of it. And I'm not saying that I know for a fact that it's part of the entertainment, right? I've heard this argument a bajillion times. Trash talk is part of fighting games. That doesn't make it any more justified or any less toxic. It really isn't. Don't forget that if that were the case, a lot of people don't know this. Do you know that Smash Bros started as a game because Sakurai felt bad after he beat like two casuals in a fighting game and they were mad that they lost?
Huh?
In another universe, if that same couple that he whooped ass in a fighting game stood up, approached Sakurai, yo, nice game, GG's, we would not have Smash Bros. In a different universe, that interaction did not happen. So again,
Mm.
that kind of remorse that he felt, it made him like make a fighting game that feels like a party game. By design, it is a party game. That's why I don't consider Smash Bros as a fighting game, but I respect it as one. Right? I respect it as I really won't treat Smash Bros as a fighting game. Like, for me, it is a party game with fighting game mechanics. But when someone says, well, I see it as a fighting game, good for you. Like, I'm not going to change my point of view, but I'll respect the fact that you view it as such. Like, mad respect. I mean, I know for a fact that EVO's highest viewership has always been Smash Bros. That's why I'm really sad for the Smash community, even though, not gonna lie, Smash community, you give me many reasons not to like you. But I still feel sad for you guys. And ultimately, right, my point is that that guilt, that remorse that Sakurai felt in that moment was what inspired him or drove him to make Smash Bros. If he felt like hot shit, if he felt like, peak smack talk era of fighting games, we probably wouldn't have Smash Bros.
Right.
So it's basically, this is behavior that, yes, it is part of the fighting game scene. We see it like it's normal, but in the current state of things, it's not something that should exactly be encouraged, right? Because the old guard is used to it, right? You can literally talk to someone who's been playing fighting games since the 90s, early 2000s, and you could say, wow, you're ass. And the response you'll probably get is like, yeah, fuck, I know. You tell that to someone who just got into fighting games now, and they're like, yeah, I should just not play. And you're like, oh, no, that's not... No, nope, too late. You said they're ass. They feel bad, and they don't want to do fighting games anymore. Like, that is my biggest fear, basically. Because, again, we cannot speak in the same language anymore and expect people to understand that language in today's standards. All of us know about the whole controversy, right? Of Lily Pichu being nominated for Best Fighting Game Streamer of this year. And how many people were butthurt that she was nominated. And I'm like, she earned it though. Like, it's not like she didn't play fighting games or even stream fighting games. It's this image that people have for fighting games that clashes with the image that they have today, that really is the source of, this animosity and gatekeeping. And this applies to just about every multiplayer experience. Right? Yeah, exactly, Andoru. Like, and again, this is why Sejam Slam has been the more entertaining, fighting game events, right, Andoru? Because we're seeing a mix of fighting game veterans and then fighting game enthusiasts, and never touched a fighting game ever in the same landscape, right? And that's entertaining as hell. And everyone is being very, still competitive, but they're being very civil and nice about it. There's barely any trash talk. Like, the most toxic thing I've seen in the whole Sejam Slam thing was Doki Bird literally doing geef things to Saikuno, and then she rage quit Alt F4'd right after a very geef round that she won. And then, of course, both of them were streaming at the same time, and Saikuno's like, report her ass for like. You could clearly tell. That's the thing. You could clearly tell like he didn't really mean it. He was playing around with the whole thing. But the reason why it's not exactly toxic, the whole situation, is because you can get that vibe like they are both aware of the whole situation, right? They're both very aware of that situation where it's a moment, it's a bit, we'll play around it. What I don't like is when I see this exact same behavior and you can clearly tell like, are you two actually beefing? Because holy shit, where's the punchline? Where's the joke? Where's the bit? Because this doesn't look like a bit anymore. Like it looks like you guys are one phrase away from actually throwing hands right now. Yeah, and again, this carries over to just about every bad experience we have had in just about every multiplayer game we have played. Valorant is no exception. Like, there is still this image that if you're playing CS, if you're playing Valorant, you have to be cracked, right? You have to be really fucking good, right? Or this very old, outdated mentality of women can't play games. I'm like, are we really going to ignore the fact that a woman actually played beat Malenia with in two separate like platforms at the same time? Or the same person defeated Malenia without getting hit with a fucking DDR pad? Are we really still going to ride on that outdated as hell mentality that women can't play games? Because that's just stupid. If there is one,
Stupid as fuck.
it is stupid as fuck. Because if there is one form of like sport or physical activity that has almost no influence, regardless if you are a man or a woman, it's video games. It really is one of those things where technically just because you're a guy or a girl doesn't make you any better than another guy or another girl. There, like, physiology has nothing to do with it. It really isn't. Like,
Yeah.
if the person is good or bad, it has nothing to do with their gender or their sex. Literally nothing. It really doesn't. And of course, some people don't like that. On that point, I don't get why there's a women division on some games. That is actually a very good argument. I don't understand why. It kind of... We can't treat esports the same way we treat sports. Where in sports, there is an actual physiological advantage and disadvantage, right? For men and women. There really is. There really, really is. That's why you have... well, not in every sport, but in certain sports for sure. That's why you... I mean, I guess a good example, I guess, would be... I don't know, mixed martial arts, I guess. Or, I don't know. Like, there's just several divisions where... Again, there really is a physical advantage or disadvantage. It's very difficult and almost impossible to treat sports and esports the same. However, I will argue is that in sports, there should be like equal respect and treatment for a male and a female division of the same sport. That is something I will stand for. But unfortunately, that is not the case nowadays.
To answer like Andoro's like statement, I mean I'm not like an expert on this because I feel like the only reason why there's like a women division on games is because to kind of like give women equal opportunity because in the gaming sphere like misogyny is still very much rampant, even if people decidedly have said that, oh, I haven't seen misogyny, therefore it doesn't exist. Like
That's
it's
bullshit.
still
It's bullshit.
it is very much present to the fact that and because of that, like women are are hesitant. Some women are like hesitant to kind of like pick up um uh this hobby at all, the gaming, and for those who do experience that firsthand, kind of like being ostracized, because of who they are. And now I feel like that's kind of like, and I think that's the reason why they have established divisions, women divisions on esports, is because to kind of like provide women that space of them where they could just kind of like play and not confront those problems at all in that space. It's just basically to provide a safe space for them to just do what they gotta do. And I mean, like to kind of like it's at the risk of like going off topic, but at the same time I couldn't help but like possibly like just um uh say something about that, is because like I feel as if of course like there is differences in physiologies when it comes to like men, to people who are born males and females and so on and so forth. And um I'm not sure. Again, there needs to be like studies in a way, for example, like to kind of like say if someone being born as a male and female kind of like affects um them having much more performance um uh on certain things, like if they perform better at this or that than whatever.
Mm-hmm.
More studies need to be made with that to kind of like prove it. But at the same time, there's so much like factors that kind of like affect it at all. Like say for example, like I think male and women, men's and women's gymnastics are two two different sports actually,
Yeah.
where it's like men's gymnastics are all about like power, while um um while women's gymnastics are all about kind of like they are also kind of like focused on the graceful aspect and all, and the only kind of like um common point that they have is um um like flexibility, I guess. But I
Mm-hmm.
think um the kind of like problem in accepting the fact that, like, okay, uh to kind of like to separate men and women, is it also admitting the fact that men are stronger than women? Because like we have seen cases where that's just like untrue.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also the kind of like this factor that are 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 men stronger than women, or are women treated are are women treated and trained and and treated in a different light? Like say for example, like are we prohibiting women to train even more harder because like the fertility, you have to like carry a child, because Heidelin Diaz is kind of like prohibited to kind of like train for higher weights because your fertility, like she's still kind of like expected to
Mm. Yeah.
kind of like um somehow preserve um um her fertility for some reason, where it's like, what does that have to do um with her trying to kind of like build a career for, like, I know that's was that you for decide, but it's a lot of that,
Mm.
you know and again, it's a lot, it's again, it's studies need to be made, but at the same time we can also kind of like have to like look at the um um sociological aspect of it all, if that makes sense,
No,
and
that makes
see,
sense.
yeah, and see if it's like um if misogyny is still at hand on these aspects.
Well, it also doesn't help that people keep moving the goalpost. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there was an incident not not too like outdated. Several years back, Overwatch. There was a female streamer who had to stream herself like you have to be able to see the perspective of like her computer and whatnot and the keyboard and mouse because people accuse her of cheating
Yeah.
because she's a woman. Like there's no way she can be that good because she's a woman. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so if a guy does no hit Melania without like level 1, they're not cheating. But if a woman does it, they're clearly cheating. Doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me. Like on one end though, to move on to the next question after this, because these are very, very good points. Andorra also asked, like, would you consider divisions as a gatekeeper in esports? The thing is, I can see the
I
benefit.
don't.
I can see the benefit and the consequences of having divisions in esports, right? Because here's the thing. Like Flo has a very good point of like studies really need to be made. And it doesn't help that even if studies are going to be made, most likely people are not going to care and misogyny is not going to go away even if studies show otherwise. Like that has
Mhm.
been culturally a big problem in sports and video games in general, or even culturally in general. Misogyny has been a problem and it still is right now. Of course, arguably it's not as bad as an issue years before, but it still is a problem now, right?
Mhm.
However, like divisions in esports, however, like I said, the benefits I see is that you get to even the playing field, right? Like there are good reasons why there are divisions in esports. However, big picture in mind, it kind of undercuts the efforts of being able to see like men and women equally in games, right? And the thing
Yeah.
is, I don't even blame like the participants themselves or the athletes themselves. I think it's more of an organizational level where that's a problem, Andoru. Because esports ain't cheap. Esports ain't cheap. Running a team ain't cheap. And esports is about making money. The thing is, as much as some organizations want to have clearly skilled um female players on their team, there's not enough that stand out in the entire atmosphere of professional video games as a whole. You look at fighting games in a nutshell. How many high level female fighting game players are there that people can name off the top of their head? It's a struggle, right? Now, the
Yeah.
argument for that, well, that's because women are scared of entering because of the whole misogyny, etc., etc. That is fair. But that is also the same source of a problem, right? It's like, it's a loop. If anything, it's a
Yeah.
very difficult loop of like IRL version. Just about every job, you must have X amount of job experience. How can I look for a job to get job experience when every job asks for job experience? Like,
Yeah.
like how the fuck, right? And that's basically the problem, Andoru. Like, I am 100% in giving women the opportunity to shine, right? An opportunity to show that they can game as well or as better as, the male counterpart. but it is insanely to do so without undermining the same purpose that it serves, right? Because if you have a division that only women can enter, right? That means that, well, it's really like a space for women to compete, a safe space for women to compete, because guys cannot enter and dilute the whole and player entry, right? Because if you were to take a fighting game, let's say there's like 1,000 entrants for a fighting game in Evo, how many of those are male and female? If you were to separate it, you can easily see like, wow, it's like 200 female entrants for this game. That's a lot, right? But at the same time, because you separate both divisions, it kind of, like I said, undermines the whole goal of like women and men should be treated equally especially in video games, right? If a woman does well and a guy does well, both should be celebrated the same way. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, Nee just won World Tour. Holy shit, awesome. And then next year, oh my god, you won World Tour. Holy shit, that's awesome. That is ultimately the big picture long goal. But oh my god, it is very difficult to even get there. I agree with like Flo that I don't see divisions as a gatekeeper in esports. I don't think so. But it does like it doesn't, long term at least, right? Long term it doesn't push the whole goal forward that much as we would want it to. Well, as I would want it to. Right? At least that's how I see it. Again, it's not easy. What would be easier is for people to be fucking civil, proper human beings, guys. But 2025? Good luck. Because don't forget, guys, in 2025, if your girl looks too hot, oh, they're sexualizing women. Then if they're not sexualizing women, oh my god, they're woke. So where do we draw the line? Right?
Yeah. For me to answer Andrew, I don't consider, like, I assume this is gender divisions. I don't consider gender divisions as a gatekeeper in esports. I think it's just that gender divisions are a direct consequence of misogyny and gender discrimination in gaming in general. And those two things are the gatekeeper in esports and gaming in general.
Wait, sorry, you cut off for a bit. What's the part that you
Oh,
find gatekeeping in general? Sorry.
okay. So, like I said, like I think I don't see gender divisions as a
Mm.
gatekeeper, but rather they are the direct consequence of misogyny and gender discrimination in gaming, and those two
Ah,
things
yeah.
are
Those are the
are
gatekeepers. Yep.
are the those are the gatekeepers.
Mhm.
Yes.
I completely
So,
agree with that. Yeah.
and so yeah, as long as we don't like keep on like um providing that that safe space for them to kind of like participate as well with all the men, then it's just like not, we're gonna see, divisions still. Like, I'm a big believer that esports should be like co-ed, as
They
much
should be.
as,
Yeah.
like, it's the same thing with chess. Like,
Yeah.
the chess community is facing, the women in the chess community is like facing the same problems, in a sense that there's been a study that if they know they're gonna fight a man, then they're like then their performance is noticeably uh, uh what's the term for like, I don't know, decreased, I guess.
Diminished.
If they know they're diminished, yeah, their performance is significantly diminished if they know they're fighting a man rather
Mhm.
than if they're fighting a woman, because there's all this kind of like expectations that, oh, they kind of like have to like prove themselves, you know?
Mm,
Because so like it rings the same with like esports as well. Again, as long as we don't kind of like um provide a safe space for women and even queer people in general too to kind of like participate, have fun, and be in the community, then I don't see anything like improving, and divisions are just gonna be as present
yeah.
in esports.
Essentially, from what I'm gathering from this, for the gaming community to take a leap to accept women in fighting in video games in general, we have to take the first steps of like having women be comfortable playing games in general. I think that's
Yeah,
basically what
and
you're
not
trying to
be
say.
discriminated. Yeah, not
Yeah.
be discriminated or like assaulted, for God's sake.
Yeah, we cannot exactly build a community that's accepting for women to play games if women don't want to play games in the first place.
Yeah.
That's basically I think what Flo is trying to get at, right? How can we
And
appreciate women in video games when women in the first place are hesitant to play video games? That is why these divisions exist. Like they need an opportunity to actually do what they want to do.
yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah. All right, penultimate
Quite.
question. So, oh, you were gonna say something?
No, this is like quite the tangent that we had.
Yeah, but it still carries over because again, like female streamers
Yeah,
and male streamers like deal with different kind of stress and
that's
situations in
true.
games. Don't forget, Foxtrots, one of the oldest, funniest incidents I've had was when I had my 1.0 model and there was someone in my chat. Speaks volumes, really. Will you be my first time chatter? Will you be my internet girlfriend? If you say no, I'll cry. I wasn't using a voice changer or anything, by the way. When I read that, oh, I didn't know you were a girl. You were a guy. I'm like,
Wow.
so if I was a girl, it's okay to just right off the bat ask if I'll be your girlfriend, huh?
God damn.
Like, okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, go ahead and fucking cry, basically. That was such a weird and funny time. Anyway, so what are some ways you've seen others deal with stress in games that you do not like?
Mm, I guess crash out. I'm not saying this because like that because I haven't been, because like I definitely have crashed out myself, but like, you know, it's just kind of like normalizing that kind of like explosive crashing out in streams where it's just like, wow, keyboard flying around and it's like slamming a
Mm,
table and whatnot. And I don't I don't like it because like it only kind of like normalizes the the idea that you know, like all this toxicity, like flaming and whatnot, is just kind of like a normalized part of like VTubing, of
mm.
like of the gaming. That maybe that's me being too woke. I don't know.
No, that's totally fair. It's also one of the things that I don't like to see. As no matter how funny a lot of people will find it, I don't like the idea of like a streamer, especially when they're not VTubers. When you can see them smash their keyboard. Like when I mean smash their keyboard, I literally mean they grab their keyboard with both hands and slam it like, violently, or yeet their controller across the room, and you can
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
and see it break. Because, if you were in the same room as them, you'd get the hell out, right? Because you're like, okay,
Yeah.
clearly this person is angry. I don't want to be here for that. Because I don't know, maybe I'll be the next thing that they hit. And as a
That
viewer,
is just yeah.
you kind of distance yourself away from the streamer. Like, you're not going to say anything in chat. Most likely, you want to let them let it out. But at the same time, you as a viewer, you'll feel uncomfortable. And as a streamer, that's the last thing you want to do to your viewer. You don't want your viewers to feel uncomfortable. And the thing is, right, there are some streamers that are quote unquote ragers that people actually find entertaining. But even then, it still has to be controlled, right? Like, anger is not in of itself bad. Controlled
Yeah.
anger is healthy, right? Controlled anger is healthy. Why? I'll give an example. Flo can back me up on this. There are some times when I play Valorant, especially if I'm opping, and
Uh-huh.
I kill someone and I say fuck you. Like, that for me is healthy anger, because I'm just like, you've been a pain in the ass the entire game. Finally, you're not. Fuck you, right? Or especially if it's an opponent who has been trash talking, yeah, fuck you. I eat your words, you eat my bullet. I think that's a fair trade, right? That's controlled
I mean,
anger. That for me is controlled anger. Uncontrolled anger is not that. Not that. Like, uncontrolled anger is if I type in alt chat, if I fight fire with fire, if I fight
yeah.
trash talk with trash talk. That is uncontrolled anger, in my honest opinion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we've probably seen um, how we've seen other streamers deal with toxic moments like that in Valorant. Sometimes they just keep quiet. Sometimes they joke around with it. They play around with it, right? That's controlled anger. Because sometimes anger can be a driving force, actually, if you let it. Right? If
Yeah.
you don't let your anger control you, if you instead let it push you forward, it's healthy. Because sometimes it's not courage that gives you wings. Sometimes fear can give you wings. That fear of, like, I don't want to fall, is the one that prevents you from falling.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a mental gymnastics, a good one. If you don't buy a rubber case or a case in general for your phone, because you know that if it falls, it's gonna get seriously damaged, then it's never gonna fall. If you think about it, right? If you think about it, if you don't ever buy a case for your phone, you will always leave it in a situation where it's never going to fall, because you know that if it does, nothing's gonna save it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that this is better than not having a case, but the mentality is what I'm trying to highlight. That, like I said, right? If you let this anger, this stressful situation control you, that's when you do something that you are most likely going to regret deeply. But if you instead reconcile yourself with it and let it
Yeah.
drive you, you'll do something way better. And of course, no one should go through anger just to get better. But anger is not something we
Yeah.
can always avoid. The very least we can do is when we get angry, we know what to do. Right? Like, I think
That's
that's
correct.
definitely like something that's more realistic. Like, it's not realistic to how do I avoid toxicity in multiplayer games? That's the worst part. You don't. You will always encounter toxicity eventually. The longer you play a multiplayer game, you'll eventually encounter something toxic. The least you can do
Yeah.
is prepare for when you encounter something toxic.
Yeah, because you can never really control anything, but how you uh how you react to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like when it comes to stressful situations like these, that's definitely one of the things I don't like to see. And what I personally try to avoid, because if I don't like seeing other people do it, I definitely don't want to see myself do it. Right? It's when people lose their shit in a game where I'm no longer haha. It's like, oh no. Yeah, instead if I find myself saying oh no instead of haha, that's where I'm like, uh-oh. Where I'm
Yeah.
concerned. It's where I cannot even do a cheeky chuckle or a laugh when a streamer I watch, a friend that I play with or whatever, is clearly not having fun anymore and is more flustered. It's when I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something I will take against like other people, because come on, it's a human thing. It's a very human thing to lose our
Mhm.
shit, right? But of course, it's one thing to let it fester, and it's another to like, I know this is a problem. I should get better at dealing with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Because it's one thing to know that, yeah, I know this is a problem. I'll own up to it. Dot, dot, dot. But you ain't doing shit about it, are you? Like, come on. Oh, man. All right.
Oops.
Oop. Oops. Yeah. All right. So, last question for this episode of Shrine Talk. And I think this is a quote unquote happier one. A happier question. Like, do you have a go-to activity, yeah. Activity that you do to deal with these kinds of situations in the long run? This one I think is
I
something
go
that I think is very nice to talk.
Activity would probably for me is just like listening to music, because I think that's one of the easier ways to kind of like drive your mood up,
Mm-hmm.
or like at least kind of like distract you from like the voices in your head, I guess.
Mm.
Because it's deciding like you kind of like it's most especially helpful for me, again, like I've said, like I'm like a one track mind of person, because like if I listen to music, then my thoughts kind of like go into that rather than other negative things. So yeah, that helps. And activity again, I guess it could be considered activity. It's just kind of like a mental, I mean, a mental assessment is an activity on its own, to kind of like step back and be like assess everything, be like, oh, and oh, this is what happened, this is what this is how it went down, and this is like a make a mental check note of like kind of like what makes this, what makes the outburst, what makes my anger kind
Mm.
of feel silly if you think about it, you know. And in a lot of ways it's kind of like that that ruminating on it is kind of like is kind of like a therapeutic one in its own, because like you get to like step back, and again it's like again stepping back and seeing like the bigger picture of it all, kind of like, oh, I should have done that, or should have done this. So it makes you like really really self-aware,
Mm.
because like you get to like think about, oh, if this um if you see it from other people and be like, how, okay, have I done this myself, and if not, then what's like the ways that I could do to possibly like circumnavigate, to kind of like and not let it happen again. just kind of like a lot of like meditations. Meditations is the term that I'm looking for. To kind of like meditate on it and like see to it that you have like it's like making yourself aware of like how you act just kind of like makes you kind of like empowered to have a little bit more control over you and what you feel.
Hmm.
So yeah, I say meditations and like ruminating on it is just like helps you when in this kind of situations.
Hmm. I'm sorry, I'm chuckling right now because I'm thinking of my answer for this question. And just thinking about it's already making me laugh.
And what is it?
It's such a weird. It's a weird go-to, but it is one of my go-tos. I have many go-tos. Yuri is one of them, obviously. But this one in particular, just
Yeah, women. Yeah,
women.
women kissing is what calms Yoko down. You heard it here first.
Absolutely. Yuri is one. But that's not what's making me laugh. That's not what's making me laugh. This video, okay, that I will post on chat, this video just never fails to make me laugh. And it's weird. That's the thing. Because it's basically RE4 Leon dying sound in 25 different ways in 60 seconds. Like, somebody actually made this video, and it never fails to make me laugh. It's just the funny Leon death sound in 25 different ways, and it's just so funny. Like I said, just thinking about it makes me laugh. If you guys want to know what the fuck I'm talking about, the link is right there. Feel free to open it and watch it. Because I swear to God,
I can't watch it.
Hmm?
No, I can't watch it because I'm on like a Bluetooth as well. No, it's on my phone. I'll watch it later.
Watch it later. 'Cause I swear to God, it's just so funny. But yeah, my go-to number one way up there, Yuri. Yeah, I said it. Lesbians. All right. Okay. Number two, that fucking video. That fucking video is definitely one of my go-to. But honestly, though, one of my go-tos, honestly, with the studio setup that made me hear everything. See, just thinking about you hearing that is making me laugh. Number three, recently, this has recently become my go-to. I just grabbed one of my Thoroughbred collection TM plushies, and I just hug it.
How many plushes do you have? Like, how many plushes do you have? Like, maybe 6,
5.
7.
Wait, no. The big ones I have 5, but total I have 7. I have Grass Wonder, I have Tamamo Cross. Those are the smaller ones, and then I have Rice Shower, Narita Brian, Daiwa Scarlet, Vodka, and Orfeb.
Even oh my god, I'm dying. I'm dying.
You're
Sorry.
right.
Nothing. Don't tell him. Anyways, yeah.
I'm sorry, what am I missing here?
No, I just said you maybe have like 6 or 7 plushies.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Is it that stupid ass meme? Oh my god. For those who know that meme, I dare you to look at Matekane Fukokitaru's animation of her just, eyes closed, just swaying left and right. You can't tell me that looks like the 6-7 meme, right? Come on. NDS Blue, yeah, women kissing is what calms me down. It never fails to calm me down.
I mean, I get him. I mean, if I saw men kissing, I'd be like, I'd be reaching Nirvana. Yeah.
I just find it really funny. Like
I'd be
with
profin.
I just remember yesterday when we were watching Resident Evil Requiem, literally the entire chat, oh my god, it's Leon Sex Kennedy. I'm like, of course they went there, but to be fair, good lord, for a guy in his 50s, Jesus Christ. Good lord.
Would.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anyone that says would. It's Leon Sex Kennedy. The S stands for sex. The entire internet lost their shit with that reveal.
Must have been. Oh no, it's not the wind. It's me. It was me.
But yeah, guys, you all heard it here. Women kissing is what calms me down. Number one. Number one of list.
Yeah.
Number one on the list of things of what's my go-to activity that calms me the hell down when when I'm in a stressful situation. Women kissing. Yuri. Simple as that.
He's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. I was gay for a minute until I saw Laura. That is something. Sorry, tangent. That was not on my bingo card. 2 Tomb Raider games. I'm like, oh my god. Stand aside, men. I am eating. Oh, 2 Tomb Raider games. Not one, but 2. And we're getting one next year. That's why I said.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting a Mega Man game.
Oh, yeah, Mega Man 12. I was surprised also when
Yeah.
I knew Capcom said they're interested in revitalizing Ace Attorney, Devil May Cry, Mega Man. I didn't expect Mega Man 12. Like what? What?
It is now 2010.
And then of course, that's why I said yesterday, chat, after they revealed the 2 Tomb Raider games we're getting, I was like, guys, somebody check on the Uncharted fans. Somebody check on the Uncharted fans. Like, I played Uncharted 1 to 4. I'm still sad that we haven't gotten one after 4. And the thing is, I don't think we're getting anytime soon because Mr. Druckmann can only make one game. And then remake it. Sorry, remaster it and then remake it. Yes, I'm talking about The Last of Us.
Can I say something fucked up?
Okay, I'll allow it.
I'm glad there was no Half-Life 3 announcement.
That's not fucked up. Like, it's not.
Because everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone in the fucking chat of the Game Awards is so annoying about it. Imagine disrespecting Evanescence and be like, I don't care, give me Half-Life 3. And I'm like, hope they don't give you. I hope they don't give you Half-Life. I hope if it's like in development right now, I'll be like, oh shit, I think we should just cancel it right now. You know?
It's not the Valve way to do that. No, they are going to just, here's a trailer out of nowhere, enjoy. That really is it. Like, that really is it. Like, I don't, that's why, words. Honestly, when it comes to Valve, my expectations are always 0. They'll reveal a game when it's fucking ready. If it's not ready, then it's not ready. If it's not happening, then it's not happening. If it's happening, they'll let us know. In their own way. That's it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, basically, like I'm 100% with you on that. Like I'll be happy when they actually announce it, but I'm not going to be pissed when they don't because I'm like, they'll announce it when they're fucking ready. Jesus Christ. Like it reminds me of the time where a lot of people were harassing Santa Monica Studios for God of War Ragnarok. Like, when the fuck is it going to release? And the response was literally, it will be ready when it's ready. And when people bitched about it, they felt so bad when they found out why it was delayed. The reason why God of War Ragnarok was delayed is because the actor for Kratos, who is also motion capturing, got physically injured. So they had to make him fully physically recuperate before they continued production. That's what
Respectful.
exactly. That's what happens when people assume. I know it's an old trope, but assuming just makes an ass out of you and me. That's why I don't like to assume. Or at least when I assume, I temper it. I have fair assumptions at the very least. I don't like to assume the worst. I don't. It just, I don't know. For me, it keeps me sane when I assume the best. But yeah, it's just really hilarious how that is generally the case. Good lord. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Shrine Talk. Of course, a big thank you for all of the Foxtrots who dropped by for today's episode, and of course, a big thank you for our guest for today, Flo. Thank you so much for finding the time to be our guest for today's episode of Shrine Talk.
Ano ko ba? Isusumbat ko sa'yo to.
For-
No, but it's an honor to me to be here, and I guess again, it's fun to return back to a stream again, even if it's not mine. So yeah, thank you for having me here. It's been fun, great conversations we had,
Yeah.
and yeah, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, and of course, as I always do in every episode, the spotlight is yours. If you have any shout outs or announcements that you want to make, feel free to do it now.
Yeah, so I don't have internet yet. But if I will, I'm gonna revamp a lot of things for 2026. I'm gonna return again. I'm gonna continue on with Ride with the Flow a little bit more regularly, and of course, again, I also still have I'm gonna keep on doing. I'm gonna redo Flow Alamo as well. My streams, my dedicated streams for talking about fashion, and of course, hopefully when I get back with the internet, I get to stream. That's what just I'm hoping for right now. And of course, I'm at Florine Hanan in all social media. So yeah, thank you so much. And of course, if you still haven't, I mean, why are you not? Then go follow Inari. Great streamer.
Oh, thank you. All right. I'll be taking a brief break before we get along with today's Saturday chill stream. All right. We'll see you in our respective streams. We'll see you all later for me and for Flo, I guess next time when her internet finally decides to cooperate.
Yeah. Again, thank you again for having me.
Yes. Big thank you again for being our guest for today.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Anytime.
Have a good weekend.
See ya. Bye.
All right. Cheers.